It really is so scary.
It's perfect.
Like a full short based on the horror movie that Cameron Kennedy's created.
Welcome back to Kinda Funny's Wonka in Review. That's right, we're ranking, reviewing, and recapping every Wonka movie, which a lot of people were like, Tim, that sounds like a horrible idea. Is that really where we're at? Are we that low in review that we're reviewing Willy Wonka? Well, you know what? 15,000 of y'all showed up last week.
Hell
Thank
yeah.
you so much.
Classic.
Over double what I expected. So hell yeah. You know, I got the golden tickets. I am Tim Geddes. Today I'm joined by Andy Cortez.
Hey, it's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, please don't ever do that again.
I'm really happy to be here with everybody today.
Fucking terrible, dude. Awful.
It's
An
Christmas
awful experience, Tim.
in December. Joey Noel.
Good morning, Starshine. The Earth says hello.
The producer / seducer, Nick Scarpino.
Tim, we talked last week after we reviewed Willy Wonka, and you were like, "What is your thoughts on Charlie and the Chocolate Factory?" And I just wanted to stop. I was like, "I'm going to stop because I want you to go into this movie just completely blank slate." And I really want to start with your opinion on this when we get past the facts,
Yeah.
because I really want to know how you felt about
I
this.
really
movie.
appreciate that.
Can't
Nick.
wait.
Let's get into it, though, because this is Kinda Funny's In Review, where each and every week we rank, review, and recap different movie franchises. We did Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory last week.
Willy Wonka.
We were doing Charlie and the Chocolate Factory today, and then next week we will be doing Wonka, the new musical coming to theaters that we're all extremely excited about.
Jazzed.
Are you?
I'm excited because, yeah, I am. I'm excited. I want to see how far down the rabbit hole we can go with this
A
one.
Wonka hole.
Oh,
Call it what it is, Andy.
Jesus.
Call it what it is. Of course, you can watch this on youtube.com/kindafunny. You can also get it on roosterteeth.com. You can get it as a podcast by searching your favorite podcast service for Kinda Funny in Review, and we'll be right there for you. If you wanted to go above and beyond, patreon.com/kindafunny is where you want to go, just like our Patreon producers, Nathan Lamoth, James Hastings, and Casey Andrew. Thank you all so very, very much. You get the show ad-free, get a whole bunch of bonus content. You get to watch live as we record it. Today we're brought to you by Shady Rays, but I'll tell you all about that later. For now, I want to get into it. Willy Wonka, That's Not Right. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Released July 15th, 2005. I was a junior in high school. With a runtime of 1 hour and 55 minutes. Directed by Tim Burton. A fun fact for Joey and Joey alone, Rob Minkoff was originally going to be the director of this movie.
Okay.
Rob Minkoff, Crystal's husband.
Oh, that is exciting. Just Joey news.
I need not like Beverly Housewives new like.
She is one, actually. Yeah, Crystal.
No, but I need like
So
I need
proud of you,
reference.
Andy.
But I knew that's why
Are you a
knew
secret
Does he
Housewives
do?
fan?
What else does he know? Does he
Lion
do?
King. He was
Yeah.
an executive producer on Lion King.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, music was done by Danny Elfman. Got a lot of facts about the music here for y'all. Danny Elfman, similar to Tim Burton, had no emotional attachment to 1971's Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
We can tell.
According to Elfman, I had no trouble divorcing myself from those original songs. I've dealt with that a couple of times. You know you're dealing with something that's going to make a lot of people angry, and you just can't think about it. Because the Oompa Loompa musical numbers would require complex choreography and be shot on set, Elfman had to compose those songs before filming began. Elfman also composed the songs simultaneously alongside the music from Corpse Bride. It was decided at an early stage that Elfman would be providing the vocals for all the Oompa Loompas, a decision justified by the identical nature of the Oompa Loompas, with pitch changes and modulations to represent different singers. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory marks the first time since 1993's The Nightmare Before Christmas that Elfman contributed to a film score using written songs and his voice.
Does he sing in all? Is that a thing?
Yes.
In all of his movies?
Not all of his movies, but Nightmare Before Christmas,
Yeah.
that's him going off.
I want to see him
He's
and
Jack,
Hans
right?
Zimmer do like a
battle?
back to back. Yeah, guitar battle.
Last year at Coachella, Danny Elfman was one of the was on it and
Big red hair.
It
We were
was-
like, wow, that's how you look.
crushed it. Incredible stuff. And yeah, he performed. He has a band as well. I don't know their name, but they make music.
Danny and the Elfman.
I like that. I like that. The first song composed was Augustus Gloop, being done as a Bollywood spectacle per Deep Roy's suggestion. Elfman recounted, my original approach was to find a style of music and apply that to all the songs. Tim Burton was like, no. We're going to completely mix it up. And I said, great. Let's go. Per Burton's suggestion, the Oompa Loompa songs would each reflect a different style of music. Violet's is 1970s funk, Veruca's is 1960s bubblegum and psychedelic pop, and Mike TV is a tribute to late 1970s hard rock, particularly Queen and early 1980s hair bands. All 4 songs utilize lyrics direct from the book. As such, the lyrics are credited to Dahl. Rather than using the book song in their entirety, Elfman selected specific verses as he believed using them unabridged would have made each song 10 minutes long. Violet was the only song that required a partial rewrite, as the song in the book was about a girl who chewed gum rather than Violet herself. The only other song to require vocal performances was Wonka's welcome song,
Willy Wonka.
Willy Wonka.
which was written in collaboration with the film's screenwriter, John August. So that's what I got for you on all of that, everybody.
Hard to believe people wrote those songs.
Wrote it not to be sung. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Wrote it to
Wrote
be
it in-
read musically. Maybe not to be performed.
I don't.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Just maybe. This one had a budget of $150 million. And Joey Noel, would you believe me? It absolutely fucking surpassed any expectation people
This is
had
not
for it
surprising.
at the box office. $475 million, becoming the 8th highest grossing film worldwide in 2005. People were stoked. There was expectations and the projections, and it just crushed them all. This film received a nomination for an Academy Award.
That's
For what?
depressing.
The fact that it ended?
Costume design.
Okay.
Just costume
I
design.
don't.
And it remains the highest grossing film adaptation based on a Roald Dahl novel, as well as Tim Burton's second highest grossing film to date.
God, Hot Topic
How many-
kids were eating this shit up in 2005. My God, all of the mixtures.
Augustus.
It's basically just Tim Burton and his whole, cast of characters that he loves rocking with.
Yeah.
What's up, Joe?
I was just laughing. It's like the highest grossing Roald Dahl movie book adaptation. Are there that many? I guess there's James and the Giant Peach and the Witches.
Yeah, The Witches is Roald Dahl. Yeah.
You know what's
That's
kind of
also
wild?
The 80s.
I
Angelica
think-
Houston, right?
When I think of James and the Giant Peach, I think of the little kid actor in here that played Charlie. Like, they're almost 1-to-1,
Yeah.
even though the movies are like 15 years apart.
That is
They
really
look
weird.
very similar, and
Yeah.
little beady eyes. And he's the one that was,
beady eyes.
being like yelling at late night television. What's that show where he's a doctor?
Oh, the Good Doctor.
Oh,
The Good
that is
Doctor.
the
That's the
kid.
thing that made me laugh so hard because I see it on TikTok all the time of like, you just watch the show in 17,000 parts. And I'm like,
Wait, sorry. This kid is the good God?
good
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy crap, it is.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Oh yeah. It's one of those where it's like just an adorable little boy, and still has like that kind of baby face as he grew
Yeah.
up. So it's kind of like you just scaled up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of odd.
That is kind of odd.
Mm-hmm.
Oingo Boingo, Tyler Ross says. That's the name of the band. Danny Elfman's band.
Correct.
Oingo Boingo.
Boingo boingo.
Yeah.
Boingo boingo.
Dead Man's Party.
Dead Man's Party?
Yeah, they did a couple songs that were very popular in the 80s.
Oh.
Dead Man's Party was the most popular one.
Badass. Sounds cool. Nick, you asked me what my thoughts are on this
Yeah.
movie. Last week we were all very high on Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Great movie, classic. We understand that. And obviously, Willy himself in the last one, perfect. You can't get better than that.
Old Bill Wonka.
And I was like, I've never seen the 2005 one. But Johnny Depp as Willy Wonka, I'm kind of excited. I see the vision. I get it. Johnny Depp, a lot of conversation about him, but I'm just talking about him in 2005.
You're talking 2023 Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
This is 2005 Johnny Depp when we all still loved
Just
Johnny Depp.
fresh off of Pirates,
Right.
like which I loved back then, still do to this day. And I was like, all
It's
right,
like a match made in heaven.
This makes sense to me. Never ended up watching it, but I was like, this makes sense to me. And last week I was like, can't wait to see that. Oh my God. It was bad.
Yeah.
This movie's bad. Like, this movie's not just like, oh, it doesn't live up to the original. I'm very like upset at the quality of this. And it starts off and you're seeing a lot of like machinery and things are going and like crazy electronic orchestral music's playing and stuff. And I'm like, what's this remind me of? I'm like, it reminds me of a really ugly Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Just right off the rip. And I was like, Tim Burton, Danny Elfman.
Duh. Yeah.
Yeah.
All this adds up. And then this realization came. And I was talking to you guys. I watched Pee-wee's Big Adventure a couple months ago. And it's always been one of my
Fantastic.
favorite movies. But I think even
Still
more
banger.
now, I'm like, God damn, this
You have
movie's-
way more respect
it
for it.
is
Yeah.
so damn good. And so much of it's good because of the creativity and the commitment to the physical bits and just all the things. Watching this movie from the intro, it is ugly as sin.
Ugly.
This is an ugly movie.
It also didn't help that I could only rent it in 1080. So that certainly didn't help, right? Like,
I think it might have actually helped.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
because
okay.
this movie
Just has that really
has
old like Phantom Menace. Everything is CG.
that
sort of
really
thing.
the CG just wasn't there to make this movie like what it needed to be. So I think maybe having it blurred a little bit maybe did that. Also, there's just moments in here where I think the faces are blurred for no reason, and or that was just makeup that they did. But overall, I mean, Tim, I think you hit the nail right on the head. It's just not a pretty thing to look at for 2 hours.
Yeah, it's ugly, and it really like distracts you. And I feel like there are some elements of the movie that I'm like, oh, this makes a little more sense than the original. And then there's a lot more that I'm like, this makes less sense. And this is a dumb call, and I don't like it. And sure, it's more faithful to the book, but it just makes things a little creepier. And yeah, overall, I just did not enjoy this. And even the parts that on paper you'd be like, oh, Tim's gonna love the Oompa Loompa custom songs and choreography and all that stuff. No, like I didn't.
Super
like,
not.
It was like, I was like, man, like I missed the original ones. Changing Mike's name from Mike TV, spelled Teve to Teave. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
That's some
Stupid.
Didn't like that. Is that a nitpick? Sure, but I'm standing by. This movie's ugly.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, real talk. It was hard to get through this one, and Johnny Depp was insufferable, and you doing the voice, like I'm getting like the ugly, cringy feeling right now. You know what I mean? I feel it going down my body.
Well, I'm glad you're gonna ask me next what I think about the movie.
Oh God, Andy, what do you think of the movie?
Apart from Johnny Depp, just like I felt uncomfortable watching a lot of the characterization and the acting and the voice, and I didn't like. It wasn't pleasant to view, right? But apart from that, I think the other biggest sin about this movie is that, like, obviously it's really tough to. How are you going to follow up Robert Downey Jr. as the next Iron Man, right? How are you going to follow up Gene Wilder as Willy Wonka? And throughout all of this movie, Gene Wilder's Willy Wonka was silly, weird, eccentric, but always felt in control. And in this, Johnny Depp is just like a bumbling fool, and adds to that and makes it even more accentuated with the all that stupid shit. Where Willy Wonka, whenever he'd say something weird and freaky, you'd be like, what this guy's weird. Then he'd be like, on to the next room. And you could tell that like everything that was happening, this was all according to plan. Anytime that he knew that these little rotten kids were going to be rotten and they were going to fall for the trap, they were going to be greedy, they were going to be little jerks, and they were eventually going to be taken out one by one based on all of their interests or whatever. And in this one, it just felt like this guy, this legendary chocolatier who owns this factory that nobody's seen of in a long time. It just doesn't seem like this dude is in control. In any other movie, he'd be like the comic relief as like this just silly idiot, you know? I just hated it.
Yeah.
Hated this movie.
I will say two things that I did enjoy. One of them was the lines about like did you pre-write these songs? Like that was funny. Just that.
Yeah.
And my favorite bit of the whole thing was with the intro, Willy Wonka, they're doing the shitty song, and there's these like shitty animatronic puppet things, and then they catch on fire, and like that was part of the whole
That
plan.
sets the tone cool.
I was like, that's kind of funny, not nearly as good as the roll jump up thing, but I was like, there's something here that I appreciate, but I don't know that I like. And then later on, when they're going through random rooms, they're like,
burn unit?
No, this is the burn unit. It's new. And it's just the fucking things getting like, I was like, all right, y'all.
Yeah.
Was it worth it? No, but I liked that.
Here's my problem with it, though. It's like there are a handful of decent ideas and a lot of bad ideas. I don't like the way that they frame Charlie getting the final golden ticket. I think in the first movie, it's done so much. It's so much more believable and kind of earnest in that moment where he's like, well, the final ticket's been gotten. I'm still going to buy one anyway. Fuck it. You know what I mean? Like, that's how much I love this, and that's how much I'm grateful for this little treasure of mine, this little chocolate in this little, like, packet, and he's going to take it home and be so happy about it. And then it turns out, holy shit, this is oh my gosh. It was a fraud. What the hell? Like, I feel like they do that so much better in the first one, and here, I don't like that it could just be like you just got to reorder things, and like you could put, hey, the news leaking sooner, and he hears the news and it's like, oh my gosh, it was a fraud. I'm gonna buy the final one. I just don't like the way that's framed at all. I don't like the over CGI everything. It really reminded me of Harry Potter era CG, where like everything was just way too goofy looking when she's when Violet's turning into the blueberry, everything is just like
Ugh.
It's Spider-Man crawling up the wall in Spider-Man 1 where you're like, oof, that was like a cartoon.
It's like, yeah, when we didn't really know how to animate a person doing that, it's just very odd and freaky. But yeah, other than that, I just didn't find a lot of joy in very much of this. Towards the end of it, it's like I haven't smiled this whole time. Like maybe since the dolls were burning. And I enjoy, and then the kids go,
Andy, are you okay?
and the kids go, aren't you supposed to be sitting there? And he goes, well, then I wouldn't have a good view of the show then. Like, and I was like, oh, okay, this might not be terrible. I don't love the voice, and the voice just continues, and the inept sort of Willy Wonka continues, and he just seems like.
How did you feel about the backstory, the flashbacks? How many can we get?
I mean, Christopher Lee, shout out Christopher Lee,
Shout out
the voice
Christopher
of a
Lee.
god. But
Oh, yeah.
I just didn't really enjoy much of this at all, unfortunately, and which stinks because I enjoy the actor for Charlie, and I feel like it was like kind of perfectly cast in this role, and I think he had just done something else before this, and he was like that kid you're gonna put in all your movies.
He's in every.
He was like the
August
young Nicholas
Rush
Hoult.
was a big deal.
Yeah. It just did not work out for me, unfortunately. And I just finished watching it here at work, and Tim walked up to me to tell me something, and he saw that I had 20 minutes left. He was like, I'm so sorry, you have to watch that right now.
Joey Noel.
Everything about this movie is just too much. I'm trying to figure out if Kevin's gonna just.
Yeah, I
help me
think.
out.
I'm sorry.
Would you like me to go?
You wanna
Yeah, go
Why
ahead.
don't
for it,
I
Nate.
go ahead and go? I'm gonna mirror everything you guys are saying here. The movie's just not fun. And at the end of the day, for a movie called Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, to get 2 hours in and have it feel like a slog is, it's a really big sin. I'll disagree with, I think, one of you who said like this is a weird combination of people. In 2005, Tim Burton and Johnny Depp and Danny Elfman coming together to make a Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory movie, to me was like, this is an inspired choice. Of
Oh, I
human
don't know
beings.
who
Yeah,
said
no,
that.
we didn't say it. Sorry,
I'm sorry.
sorry. Just to be clear, it's not for me. It's a bummer that like you're telling me that all-star team made this.
Okay.
And I think my problem is it's the CG. The moment you get CG,
that's-
you lose the imagination.
That's what I was going to say. I wish this was Tim Burton and Johnny Depp from Edward Scissorhands. I want that
100%.
era of Tim Burton, Johnny Depp, where they're both still coming up. They're both still making hits. I mean, I think to me, Edward Scissorhands is a perfect analog to what this movie should have been. It's weird. It makes absolutely no sense that it should be as good as it actually ended up turning out to be. And it's very, 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 what's up? What are you doing, Greg?
Greg's doing something. He's messing with cables. Greg's doing something with cables.
Perfect.
That's it. He's doing something with cables. Can I interrupt real
Sure.
quick, Nick? I just want to like throw out, because I meant to say this. Another thing that I don't like, the fact that we are resorting to slapstick comedy with him running into the glass at the end of
Elevator.
it. It just felt like it that hasn't happened. It just felt like so out of nowhere. But they were like, well, we gotta like spice this up. Yeah, have him walk into the glass, and it's funny. He's gonna hit his face, and it was like that. But we haven't had any other instance of this being in the movie. It was just like totally out of nowhere. It'd be like if he just threw in a fart joke or something. You know what I mean?
Which I'm sure they had in there. We just missed it.
Possibly, yeah.
I agree. I think tonally, the movie's just all over the place. It's very dark. It's very ugly as far as the color palette, and the actual CG is disgusting. It lacks any sort of, for lack of a better term, pure imagination, which is what we need, what we got in the first one, where the first one's the polar opposite of this movie, in that it had no budget. It has very little production design comparatively speaking to this one, which had a budget of what, 140 million? Is that what you said?
This one's 140. Yeah,
140. What was the original one? 3 million?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. 3 or
so
5.
like, talk about doing more with less. They were just like, how do we get creative about this? And a lot of it really just has to do with how they reshaped the Willy Wonka character, putting Slugworth in there as a foil, and having there be an actual antagonist to bring out the greed in the children and show their human, like that human side of them, and have them one by one fall to that. Gave Charlie a much bigger character arc and a much bigger all these bigger character moments, because he's like, no, I'm not going to do that.
Overcoming the greed.
Right,
yeah.
he's actually overcoming that. He has moments where he gets tested, and he has moments where he fails, but at the end, ultimately, he proves to Willy Wonka that he's a good kid by giving back the everlasting gobstopper, right? In this one, all he does is he just survives this
just kinda
gauntlet
walks
of
through hallways.
madness, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't even do a thing. There's no. I don't know why I always go to fart.
There's no
I always go to
action.
fart. It's the
Yeah.
burp scene.
Busy
Oh.
lifting.
There's no
Busy
burp
lifting.
scene in this.
They don't
yeah,
fart at
which
all.
is wild. And I don't know if that was written in for this or if they just decided to take out from the book.
That was
but
written in for the other one. That was
the other one?
book. I think was what we. read
I know
last
we
That's
weren't
right.
super online when this movie was coming up, but remember, Joe, how everybody reacted when they announced they were making a Lion King live action whatever full CG movie, but there's going to be no Be Prepared with Scar.
Oh,
And we were
yeah.
like, what, bro? You
fuck?
gotta have Be Prepared. Like, that's a massive
banger.
musical number. And to, like, can you imagine in 2005, like, if we were a lot more online with, like, Twitter and everything, and like, hey, the new Willy Wonka movie, by the way, there's no come with me. And we'll, like, what? How are you gonna do that? You can't have that without that song.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the musical elements add a level of magic that this movie is just sorely needing. But I think for me, the biggest issue with this movie is just Johnny Depp. I cannot fathom. Well, Johnny Depp and also Tim Burton's love of CG around this era, because remember, I think right after this he did Alice in Wonderland, and it was just
Not good.
It was,
horrifying.
and then before that he did
Big Fish. There was,
Demon Barber Fleet Street, Sweeney Todd too.
but that was mostly practical. That didn't have a ton of CG in it, right?
Did it not?
I don't
been a long
remember
time
it
since I've
being.
seen it.
Yeah,
I remember that being the turn of like, oh, I don't know if I like this pairing anymore.
yeah. It's just
Maybe it was just a bad musical adaptation.
I
That's
think
why
it's just
hated
a
it.
weird. I think it's just a weird choice. Like,
It's a
I'm
bad
sure,
choice.
I'm sure he had different approaches to the character and the voice, and they chose like probably the worst of all the options.
it smacks of one of those projects where you get like a week or two in and you're like, you know what, we're just gonna get through this. We're just gonna film Johnny Depp doing whatever he's doing and hope to God this movie does well.
And that's the problem for me is like Johnny Depp, just for the 10th time now, was really bad as Willy Wonka. I do not like this interpretation. The casting otherwise, kind of banger. Like
Missy Pyle as the mom.
I don't
10
even
out of
know
10.
who a lot of these people are, but I'm just like, for knowing the characters and watching the movie last week, I'm like, yeah, damn. Like what's weird is Veruca. And I'm like, is that just the same girl? Like, did
Oh,
she
that is
time
weird.
travel? Like, it's really bizarre. But yeah, the parents and the way that they mixed up, like getting like more moms involved and stuff, like loved that. The matching tracksuits.
Mike
and
TV's
stuff.
mom was switch out from Mike TV's dad, and the dad, by the way, one half of Gray Matter, the company that Walter White leaves in Breaking Bad. Got them big ass ears. That guy's got
ears.
satellites like me.
He played at some point. I'm pretty sure he's played Prince Charles. I'm not sure when and where, but
I
I'm
could
pretty
see
sure he's
that
played
for
Prince
sure.
Charles.
Did you recognize who Violet Beauregard was?
G was explaining it to me, but I don't know
Oh
who
yeah,
she is.
Anna Sophia Robb. She's like around, but it's like just weird to see her as like a little kid. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
that's you.
I looked at her, like just the Google. I'm like, I don't know any of these things.
The kid who played Mike TV, by the way, looks like the way. And it's I'm not trying to sound overly mean here, but if we can bring up the photo of this child, it looks like the way Pixar rendered kids in Toy Story 1 era.
Wait, which one was it?
The
Mike
kid who
TV.
played Mike TV. If we can bring
That's
that up, like when
so
you see it, you're
mean.
gonna be like, "Wow, this looks like the way Pixar would make Sid and all those kids look in their before Pixar really knew how to make human beings look." Also, this whole movie just kind of really, really makes me think of scrolling TikTok in the last 6 months and seeing. Here's what AI would look like if Willy Wonka was made by Tim Burton, and like because they always do the. Doesn't he look like a freaking Pixar character?
Kid's got
Dude?
great hair. I don't know what you're talking about.
He looks like a Pixar 3D character. On TikTok they always do like here's if Wes Anderson made Star Wars, and
Oh,
it's
I've
like
seen that. I've seen them all.
this kind of just reminds me exactly of this would be the result if AI decided they wanted to make a Willy Wonka movie with Tim Burton, and on the whole cast we have who's Tim Burton's wife?
Helen
Bonham
Bonham
Carter.
Carter.
Helen
I don't
Bonham
think they're
Carter.
married anymore. Though. I don't think they're
Oh,
together anymore. sadly.
Unfortunate. Joey, what did you think?
Yeah, like I was saying, it's all too much. I think so much of it is the color, the CG. I think the fun part of the original one was seeing all of the practical stuff, and it just doesn't hit right. I think about Willy Wonka's office, where everything is half, and like everything's just like a little bit off, and how fun that is. Even to the point where like when we're in the Bucket household, everything is askew and crooked. There are so many colors and textures. Like there's just too much of everything, and it's really distracting and really off-putting.
I was thinking it felt like they gave up after that choice. Because I kind of liked that choice. It's very cartoonish and stylized, just like the off-kilter house with the door being crooked. And then nothing else really kind of... It
Yeah,
makes
I
sense
didn't
because they're like the poorer of that whole neighborhood. But there just wasn't really anything else in the movie that had that vibe, you know?
But I feel like in comparison to like the more subtlety of the first one of like, you're like, what are they wearing? They don't have anything. They're drinking this like cabbage water. And then for them to just have like so much stuff. I feel like the like emphasis or like the focus on them like being poor and this being special, like all of these things didn't really like match for me. I think it's really tragic that we lose so much backstory between Charlie and his grandpa. Like there's truly so little relationship build up to get to the point where the grandpa's going with him instead of his dad. Like it doesn't really make a lot of story sense, I think, to me, why he picks the grandpa.
And also, Joe, when Grandpa Joe is first kind of talking about his past with Willy Wonka and working there, I thought, oh, they're having the other Grandpa Joe guy talk because the other grandparents of the old movie didn't really talk a whole lot. So this is like the other grandpa's chance to shine, and then we're gonna meet Grandpa Joe. But like I didn't realize I was Grandpa Joe the whole time, and like sweet, adorable little old man, but it just didn't have the same kind of energy that even though he did the whoopee or whatever the hell, it just didn't like old Grandpa Joe, I think, clears.
Oh yeah.
And then my biggest issue, obviously, is with Johnny Depp. I think the way that Gene Wilder played it so much more eccentric and just there being constant movement in his dialogue and the way you can see his brain moving kind of through everything. And Johnny Depp going for like a way more like socially awkward one that's obviously like we see the flashback to the trauma, and his feels so much more sinister and like bully paybacky kind of for like the treatment he got as a kid. And I was like, this is like not fun to watch, and like it feels like way grosser of like, oh, you're just like inflicting this pain on all of these kids, but without the like whimsy of Gene Wilder. And it's just like, I hate all of this. I will say the kids' songs, bangers. chewing, just stuck in my head all night last night.
Augustus Gloop.
Yeah.
Augustus Gloop. Something,
Exactly.
something, nincompoop.
Yeah. But
Awful.
it just all feels so like saccharinely fake because of the colors and the CGI that it's just like none of this. It just there's no like dimension to anything because it all feels like really flat and fake.
When they're walking on that bridge inside of the main room, it like just had flashbacks to a much older Phantom Menace when like their characters are just walking through hallways. It's like, George Lucas, why'd you CGI a hallway, bro? We could have found a hallway somewhere. Like I had the same sort of vibes where it's like everything looks extra fuzzy and like everything's got bloom on it and it just looks so unnatural. And what was weird is I was finding images for the thumbnail and there was a couple like on-set stills where Johnny Depp's face is not desaturated and like dead looking.
Yeah.
And we see him looking like that when he's in the jungles, right? But here, like the image that I posted that you'll see on the thumbnail, if you're watching this right now, it's just like that's an image where he doesn't have any sort of coloration to his skin.
Well, it looks completely different in the jungle, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
It's weird. You can tell they
It's
shot
just-
that first, and he's even a different character. He feels a lot more whimsical and fun and like adventurous. And I wish that had been the Willy Wonka character because you put those two side by side with the Anna Wintour haircut that he has for the rest of the movie, and it's just fucking off-putting. It's
Yeah.
off-putting.
It's the veneers.
Like Joey
Oh my
Ripper-
God.
It's the
the
overbite
veneers
and the
are
veneers.
terrible.
What's funny is literally one of my first notes before the dentist stuff even got brought up. I was like, Johnny Depp's Willy Wonka is veneers as a person.
yeah.
And then they started getting into it. I'm like, well, I guess that was the goal. But it's just like, there's something just so off about looking at it.
You know what the mouth reminds me of?
Ben Affleck.
Oh, no, I was...
Okay.
I mean, like...
Confident.
It's a good call. The sort of overbite nature that he does because he has these fake teeth that kind of like protrude his upper lip. It reminds me of that one HBO comedian woman who would play a character. This is
Tracy
like,
Ullman.
Huh?
Tracy Ullman.
Yes.
Yeah.
It like just the look of his like upper lip kind of doing that weird thing like, hey, how's it going, everybody?
What kills me though is like
Hate it, Tim.
what kills
Hate
me is
it.
that you're talking about Johnny Depp, who in other Tim Burton movies, because I think Tim Burton also did the Headless Horseman one, right? Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah.
Love him in that as Ichabod Crane.
Oh, yeah.
Love him in Pirates as
We need to make more Ichabods, by the way.
Love him in everything he had done. He found the character so well, and in this one, he's just so far off the mark that, like, to riff off of what you're saying, like, if you took all these elements and you put it in an A24 movie, I think it would be great. I think like a chocolatier who got abused by his father, who's now killing kids one by one in his factory. Sounds like an awesome plot.
So that's
But it's a horror
something,
movie.
and, we'll get to the plot in just a second, but like that's something to me that I thought was like one of the more bizarre choices. And again, I know this one followed the book better, like closer. It doesn't mean it's better. And I think like watching this
odd.
movie, I'm
Rare,
like,
but
it is
that
rare, but
means
I'm like,
it's not better, yeah.
Like the plot wise, this movie's inferior to the other one.
100%.
And I think one of those things is the themes, and you talking about like Charlie and how like these characters' growth arcs and all that stuff. The pure plot of there's 5 tickets. They all get to go to the thing, but one of them is going to get a mega prize.
Yeah.
Don't tell them that.
No.
Like it changes the framing of the entire thing.
Then it's a competition.
And they also don't actually treat it that way. Like there's a couple moments of the kids being weird, but then they get in, the girls are just like, we're best friends now. And it's like, all right.
And they're still competitive. They still shoot each other. They smile to each other and they look apart.
But then they don't follow up with any of that actually.
Right.
There's no actual competition.
And I'm kind of reminded of this when Mike TV is ousted and they're walking. They go, "There's only one child left. It looks like you won the grand prize." It's like it just felt so anticlimactic for that to.
I'll tell you
Obviously,
what.
the more happens after that, but it just. You're right. I would have loved if that was not ever in that. If maybe like the prize was like just getting all the chocolate, but then the full grand prize being the special secret thing.
Yeah, again, I think you need that extra slug-worthness. I think you need that thing that's the greed, representative of greed, dangling in front of them to really bring out the character's true natures. Again, there's no real. The only B story plot here is all the flashbacks we get, and there's moments in those flashbacks where I go, "Oh, I see what they were going.
There's
for."
something here,
The flag
for sure.
sequence got me.
Oh, dude.
That
you know what?
made me laugh so hard.
Legitimately an amazing moment. Amazing.
I just
I
wish
think I may
that-
have already forgotten it.
So there's a moment where
Kevin, this is the type of shit. Kevin Coelho's never seen this movie. This moment is the type of shit that I feel like I can hear Kevin laughing when he sees it. It's a flashback, and Johnny Depp's young Willy Wonka decides that he needs to go search for like the most.
I'm gonna go around the world
to find the chocolate or whatever. And it's one of those Spider-Man, the original
Montages,
Spider-Man
they're like,
montages
yeah.
of him walking, and you see all the different flags behind him, like just going. So it like gives the effect of him walking through the world, and then it cuts to the end, and it's him at the end of a hallway in like a museum that he walked by a bunch
Museum
of
of
flags.
Flags.
The Museum of
of
Flags.
world flags or whatever it is.
Fucking hilarious.
That got me, and I'm like, why? You know why that was funny? Because A, it was in a real place. They just put some flags up in a hallway. B, the little kid actor reminded me a lot of Pee Wee Herman, which I'm like, I appreciate
very
that.
Pee-wee, yeah.
He's weird and fun, and you like him despite the fact that you put it all on paper. Like Pee Wee Herman's a great example of what this movie should have been. You put him all on paper, and that is not a likable character. But because Paul Rubens was so funny, because everyone around him acted so well to him and loves him, you love him too. But in this one, that's how Willy Wonka should be. The one thing that he's really, really missing is just there's no mystery to this movie at all either. When do we see Willy Wonka like right off the rip?
Yeah.
And then he's cutting the ribbon. I'm like, what? This is the mysterious character that no one's seen in years. And
I
you're
don't
showing
like-
the audience him right off the bat. This is stupid. You're destroying any tension we ever have.
And yeah, like the shots from behind or the side where his face is masked and stuff like that. It's like, oh, this is like not the reveal that you think it is. And
Yeah.
it's just not, it takes all the mystery away.
All
from
of it.
So
All of
that's
it.
weird.
Well, we're going to break this movie down plot point by plot point in just a second after a word from our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by Shady Rays. 'Tis the season of giving. Get the perfect gift for a special someone, yourself, or both. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with premium polarized shades and quick swap snow goggles that won't break the bank. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company that offers an unrivaled product that's just as good as any expensive pair we've worn. Y'all know I've been outside in the sun a lot playing Pokemon Go, and it's such a great experience wearing Shady Rays when I'm out and about looking dope. And that's not all. Every pair of sunglasses is backed by lost or broken replacements. If you lose or break your pair, even on day one, they told us they will send you a brand new pair, no questions asked. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out a very merry deal for the season. You can go to shadyrays.com, use code KindaFunny for 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people by going to shadyrays.com, using code KindaFunny, and you'll get 50% off for 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. Andy Cortez, take us away.
I don't have lyrics for this. Oh, I did last week. Come with me and you'll hear All about Willy Wonka's assassinations. I messed the wording up. I also don't know the notes. I'll figure it out later.
I love you starting to play the song, and even though you just admitted you didn't have lyrics, you did the thing where you look at Nick and you're about to sing, but then you didn't. You just felt the musical vibe.
It's just kind of like a rose, you know.
Love it, man.
Folks, normally I pull a quote for the beginning of this movie, but there's literally nothing worth quoting other than the fact that for whatever reason, not once, not twice, but 3 times, he just dunks on Mike TV for mumbling, and the kid's not mumbling.
What?
And I don't understand why this joke keeps coming back.
Joke, like it's not even a joke.
Mike TV, aside from dropping the R word right off the rip,
Oh my god,
Gamer word, the true gamer.
might be the only character in this movie that is of any interest to me, because at one point, maybe I think an hour and 15 minutes in, he says what we're all thinking. None of this means anything.
Yeah, he says, "Isn't why is this all so pointless?" And then
he's all, yeah, that's what he says. All of this is completely pointless, and that is what this movie is. Let's start with a CG smokestack. Why not? We can't film real smokestacks and colors that look like a horror movie. And now some more CG chocolate that looks terrible. Music by Danny Elfman, just in case you didn't notice. Willy Wonka puts golden tickets in some of the candy bars, then off they go to unsuspecting cities like London, New York, Cairo, and Tokyo. Where's the 5th one?
where they are.
A weird moment. But they stamp one that said London.
Yeah.
Are they not in London? I guess they're not. Everyone's British.
No, there was a couple Americans there as well.
Oh, okay. So maybe they're in Germany.
And they gave me
That
the
makes
same
sense.
vibe as part 1 of like, oh, maybe
But,
this
like,
isn't in London.
Wouldn't the thing still need a little stamp to differentiate it, like local? I don't know. I digress.
This movie more so than the other one, and it was funny because I complained about this, and I was like, well, I guess the other one was like this too. Charlie's house being so close to this chocolate factory, something about that pisses me off. It's like this is too coincidental and just very, very, very weird. And the way that the shots framed of like the overhead of the entire city, like in the first movie, there's that moment of like I could see my house from here, and it's like, all right, cool, they're in the same space as each other, the factory and the house. This one's like literally as
up the
close
road
as the liquor store is.
Yeah,
to
it's
us.
up the road.
It's like, all right, cool.
Already we're establishing sort of the drab visuals of this movie, the visual identity of this movie, and it's monochromatic. It's snowing out. I hate this. I just do. I don't. I want I want it to be sunny and cheery and mysterious and fun, and I want the Wonka trucks rolling out of the thing, and I want to see all this and be like, what's going to happen? But in this, it just looks like it just really looks like a bummer. And then we go over to Charlie's sweet house, and man, that's a bummer also.
Because we watched the first movie and we're like, what about Charlie's dad? I have so many questions. I hope that in the next movie they give me a backstory about Charlie's dad where he was a toothpaste
Immaculate
assistant.
Conception.
Makes sense. Tim Burton really likes moments with assembly lines. And I actually thought that moment was great because it was practical. At least there was a practical assembly line that went through. So I like all that stuff. I like the squirrel room. I like anything where it was like, we built this thing.
Shout out to the squirrels.
What's that?
Shout out to
Shout
the
out to the
squirrels.
squirrels.
Yeah.
I mean, can we call it right now? Can we do it? Andy, hit the song.
And this, shout out to the squirrels.
Ladies and
Shout
gentlemen,
out to the squirrels.
welcome to Shout Out to the Squirrels, a new podcast within a podcast. Are the squirrels better than the golden geese?
1,000%.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Kinda.
And it's like,
But I also
so
don't
here's
like the fact
thing.
that they were real big geese.
Oh, you don't like a big old muffy squirrel? Like
No,
a
it's the
big.
geese.
Oh,
No, I
the
didn't-
geese. I thought you meant the squirrels.
Oh my
I thought you meant the
God.
fluffy
I
tails of the
hate
squirrels.
like those words.
For context, I meant the ones you put your hands in. The muff.
Oh. I thought you meant the squirrel.
No.
Jesus Christ, there's so much here. I do love the golden goose as a name that lays golden goose eggs. That's way better as a concept. When it's a squirrel, it's like you're a bad nut. I'm like, who the fuck wrote this?
Yeah.
Like,
I love the bad nut. I
I love
think that's
the
way
squirrels.
better than the goose.
But the
I
thing
mean, but a
that
bad egg also makes sense. Too.
well, yeah, and bad egg
Something
makes.
knock on her head.
I don't
That's
think
way
we.
funnier.
I don't think we have the parlance bad nut in America, right? It's always bad egg. That kid's a bad egg.
that's so true.
Who the fuck calls it a bad
A
nut?
bad nut.
That's what I had last
I mean, it
night.
might be a British
my
thing. I
God.
don't know. Damn.
I was
All right.
like, we'll get around this. Absolutely
My
not.
phone's
Hello.
battery died. I used my
There
imagination.
you go. All right.
Pure imagination.
Your imagination. Anyway, he comes home and guess what? Helen
hold on.
Bonham Carter's.
Shout out to the squirrels.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. He comes from Helen Bonham Carter's there, and the guy from the dad's been in a bunch of shit.
You know what I want to
looked
say
this up
about
last night, I don't
you know what I
remember.
want to say about this guy? He looks very familiar. He's been in a lot of things like you were just mentioning. He looks like Ben Mendelsohn if you slid
Kind of.
Yes,
if you
1000%.
slid the slider all the way up to maximum.
Yeah.
I thought
like
it was
he
him.
became more Ben Mendelsohn. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Forgot Ben Mendelsohn's name. So I'm talking to Gia, who's half paying attention to this abomination of a movie. And I'm like, wait, is that the guy? And she's like, you're going to have to be more specific. And I'm like, oh, fuck, the guy from Rogue One.
Yeah.
She's like, what guy from Rogue One? I'm like, the bad guy
Yeah.
from Rogue One. She's like, Tim, I have no idea who you're talking about. I was like, Krennic. She's like, that's not gonna help me more. That's helping me less.
They're very similar acters, yeah, but I forget what else this guy has been.
Recently, I
This guy's in Paddington 2.
Paddington.
To a really good Ben Mendelsohn.
so good.
Wasn't the dad from Paddington?
They're
was
not
the
even
original
listening to my
Paddington?
Ben
Wasn't it
Mendelsohn
Q
impression.
Let me hear it. Let me hear it.
My name is Ben Mendelsohn, and recently I lost my job.
Can you give me the shout out with the squirrels?
I cannot. Come on. I cannot.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, go
He's also in
home.
Life Aquatic.
That might be what I'm thinking
Yeah.
of. Yes, because I think he was like that might be something. Anyway, he brings home some messed up toothpaste caps from Charlie from this chocolate factory because Charlie's making this big scale model of a chocolate factory, which I thought was kind of funny. Grandpa Joe used to work for Wonka, and we get treated to a really creepy scene where Wonka feeds him an egg that hatches in his old mouth.
Is Wonka here like 10 years old, 12 years old?
I don't know. That is a question that I had. Because Grandpa Joe, who I gotta be honest,
Still looks like he's knocking on death's door. like,
This is the guy that looks like Jerry's game.
yeah.
Oh, that like a
Yeah.
1-for-1 must be based on the same person.
You're right.
I just don't like this at all.
Yeah, that's
I don't
fair,
like
eh?
Grandpa Joe.
That's how I feel
just
about the
don't like
entire
him.
movie.
I
It feels
didn't
like you're really like ashamed to admit that, but you're like, I'm gonna be brave right here. I don't like Grandpa Joe.
I don't-
I get it because I don't
Yeah.
love him either, and he's
They don't
adorable.
give us any reason to care about their relationship, really.
He's kind of a piece of shit. Like originally, originally Grandpa Joe
He's just like really in it today.
had that little character arc in the
That's
original one,
what's
and obviously you felt in the first movie that Grandpa Joe and Charlie had a little bit more of a kinship than he had with his other grandfather, right? Who was just kind of taking up space on the other side of the bed. Grandpa Joe is sort of like a
corpse.
surrogate father to him because he was missing a father, and then of course Grandpa Joe was like very depressed. Charlie pulls him out of this depression. They go have this grand adventure together because it means equal as much to both of them. But in this one, it really just feels like Grandpa Joe's like, I really want to go to this thing.
I really, hey,
I
help me
really
out
wanna do
here.
it.
Like, please, like, I want to go back just one more time.
And then-
it's like, it's putting a lot of pressure on
The
little
dad
Charlie.
who-
What about
glory
you, Grandpa
days.
Joe?
And then the dad who Charlie obviously loves and they have a great relationship with, I guess he wants to go back in there and nobody stands up for the dad. And it's so fucking weird. But then
Grandpa, what if you fall and break your hip, bro?
we're like 2 minutes into this movie and we get a flashback scene for a side character that we don't even really care about.
It's really
He
weird
could have
choice.
just said, I used to work there and I would really love to go back and leave that to the imagination.
Or just don't.
Just don't.
Like, what did that add to any of the story?
Yeah, because it didn't really follow up. I think it added to the story, but there were no follow-ups, so then it just kind of feels totally ignored. But
Yeah, it's like a loose
there had
string.
to have been cuts of this movie where there were follow-ups because in that moment, like we see Grandpa Joe's admiration for this. I mean, he's kind of like an Elon Musk fan, right? Like he's kind of like, this man is a genius. This guy is like, nobody else could make these creations like this guy. You know what I mean? Like he made a fucking chocolate bird appear on my tongue. Like it's weird.
Dude, but that's
my
the-
dry ass old tongue.
That's what I'm saying. You know the concept of like the Hitchcockian concept of like when someone's about to die, the camera will cut away from it because what's in your imagination is always way scarier than whatever they're going to show you, with the exception of the Saw franchise. It works the same way for creative stuff. Having Grandpa Joe just sit in the bed in the original one with Charlie and go, hey, this place was amazing. You're never going to believe the things you could see inside of this place. As a kid, I go, my brain just goes, what's in there? I don't know. I'm so
totally.
excited to figure this out. But they immediately cut over to a shitty fucking CG chocolate chicken hatching out of an egg that got put in an old guy's mouth, which is fucking creepy to begin with because he's doing the thing that old guys do that I don't like, where they dye their hair. And it's like, I can still tell they're fucking 90 years old even they got brown hair. It's weird.
Rudy
It is,
Giuliani.
and I think a big problem is like to the imagination of this, and you talk about the kid filling the gaps and all this stuff. For Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, whatever, the concept of this story, right? Every candy they introduce if you're a kid watching this, you should be like, I gotta try that.
I gotta try that.
I want to try an everlasting gobstopper.
Gobstopper?
Like that sounds awesome. A thing that has multiple different tastes and stuff. Cool, I'm in it. Licking a wall for different tastes. Like you want to do these things, right? Then you see this little chocolate bird. I'm like, I don't want that.
I don't want that.
I'm freaked
that
out
out of me.
by it.
Get that out of
Yeah,
me.
I do not
It's
want it.
nightmare fuel. It's not exciting.
That's some Harry Potter shit. Like the thing coming to life right there. It's like,
Yeah.
You're also gonna kill it by eating it. That feels weird.
Yeah.
It's all very,
I mean,
very,
Kevin,
very weird.
don't things taste better when you kill them yourself?
what? The weirdest part about all this is that you're right about, like, you got to leave. You got to leave the mystery there. The only thing they leave to our imagination is like a full shot of a weird ass Johnny Depp face. Like that's the only thing that they're really obscuring in this.
And it's
As
not
if like
enough.
when we see him, we're gonna be like, "Whoa, dude, that's Willy Wonka," and it feels worse to see him.
But there's also something very weird about being like, hey, let me tell you every single detail about how Willy Wonka started, including the fact that he just used to run a shop right around the corner on the street where anyone can access this person. You have a mythical character for all intents and purposes called Willy fucking Wonka. And the chocolate, and he's got this crazy chocolate factory that no one's been in. And you're just gonna tell me, oh, he just started like you and I. He had a shop over there that he's
Willy
no, that's
fucking
not
Wonka.
fun.
He doesn't feel like a legend.
He's not a legend. That's weird, right? Anyway,
The other thing about this is you were saying that as a kid, you should want to try everything in this factory. It feels more like they were making this movie and they were like, how do we sell real Wonka candy? And they were like, what are the things that we can make? And how do we use this as like a glorified kind of commercial?
But see, that's where I think the biggest disconnect for me is where that didn't happen. Because Wonka bars came out in the like late 90s or whatever. Like, and
was
there
it
was
not around this where they got like revitalized?
they might have came back.
They
for a
must have
li-
done it for
but
this.
but I think it was like a limited time. Like Wonka bars were popping off in the 90s. I remember the commercials. There was a cartoon Wonka. Like it was a whole thing. And then they just didn't for this. And I'm thinking back. I'm like, Wonka candy, the Wonka brand. What is the candy? What's the Wonka candy?
chocolate bar.
Isn't it Nerds?
It's Nerds. Nerds. Nerds is the fucking Wonka candy. Where the fuck's Nerds in any of these movies? Isn't that weird?
Yeah, you're right.
They're like the most popular candy's not even in the movies.
The best Wonka movie I've seen was the first time I ate some Nerds clusters at that one time when we were watching some movie for interview.
Those things hit.
Oh
Best
my
movie you
god!
saw?
Yeah, like me experiencing Wonka was that moment. It was, you know what was really cool though? The Wonka bars with the Japanese katakana, like the kanji.
That was sick.
looked sick as shit.
I do want to give a shout out to when the kids, like, I think it might have been in Tokyo, where they run into the shop and there's a mannequin and the
Yeah.
candy
Oh, the
bars
dre-
are the dress.
Oh yeah, I think that's
That was
New York or London.
Oh,
That was
yeah.
so cool. I was like, that's awesome, and that's awesome because again, it's done practically. I think I don't know, but it looks
yeah,
really cool.
Infinite Corpse is right. I think Gobstoppers is the one that I know of being the Wonka candy.
Yeah, but a gobstopper.
Gobstopper's more
No.
like popular than
Culturally
Nerds,
relevant.
though.
Yeah.
I don't think in terms of like sales, but when I think of Nerds, I don't think of Wonka. I just think like I would if they were in the movie ever.
Yeah.
But like Gobstoppers, the fact that was like the one thing, and then when you would see an actual, the first time I saw a Gobstopper as a kid, I was like, holy shit, this is the candy from the movie. That's wild. And you would eat it, and it would like change color because it's getting smaller and smaller, and it's a bunch of flavors. Yeah, that's the one that I kind of remember the most.
We keep going with a little backstory here. He tells Charlie that the thing was so successful that that Willy Wonka finally got a big old factory right up the road. And we see Willy cutting the ribbon outside, which again goes a long way to destroy the mystery of who Willy Wonka is and this character. And honestly, it gave me vibes of, stick with me here, Batman fighting Bane just in broad fucking daylight on the street. It's just not good. It destroys snow,
Ash.
but just anytime you'd see Batman where he wasn't shrouded is always a pet peeve of mine because I'm like, very good, and it destroys the mystery of who this larger than life character is.
Real quick, I just looked up Nerds because I wanted to see if it started as a Wonka thing.
It
I don't think it did.
It did.
Oh.
I just learned a lot right here.
Really?
It launched in 1983 by the Sunmark Corporation under the brand name Willy Wonka Candy Company. The production process is as follows. Basically, we start off with a sugar crystal, and then we just keep coating it with more sugar.
Oh yeah.
This is
That's
what I
the
always thought,
quote.
but it never said Willy Wonka on it, right?
It used to
Yeah, there
have
was like a
something in the
logo at the
corner.
top left.
Yeah.
These are the boxes I've never associated with any candy being Willy Wonka other than like when a couple of them came back out like 10 years ago for this movie or what it was.
Kevin, can
15
you
years
look
ago.
up modern gobstoppers? Because I haven't seen one in a while.
But a gobstopper is the name of a type of candy, not a brand name, right?
It's a brand
Oh,
of their
I'm
type
thinking
of candy.
I'm thinking Jawbreakers.
Oh,
Remember Jawbreakers?
yeah, of course.
They were
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Of course.
I'm like, man, I want to eat this
This
fucking
is a
Jawbreaker.
beautiful little box.
I
Whoever worked on
always
this
thought it was
design,
purple for
beautiful
some
job.
reason. I don't think I've
It's-
ever bought one.
For
of
audio
these.
listeners, lots of colors.
They
Lot
need
of
to really
colorful
make an
circles.
everlasting gobstopper because I want one of those in my mouth. So
You ever wonder what's in a Wonder Ball?
never do.
We can move on.
In case you guys weren't wondering, we get even more backstory. And this scene should have absolutely 100% been cut out of this overly long movie. Prince Pondicherry and his castle of chocolate. Now,
Oh my gosh.
What the actual
not,
shit?
not only do we not need this scene, but it's actually a direct contradiction of what Grandpa Joe just said about Willy Wonka, and that Willy Wonka can do anything, including making ice cream that doesn't melt in the sun for hours and hours and hours on end. So why can't he make a chocolate house that doesn't melt? It's weird. And then it melts, and then it's gross because it looks like poop going onto people's faces.
Yeah.
Did I watch the wrong movie here?
No.
Okay. Tim's looking at me like I'm crazy.
No, well, no. 'Cause so I got up to go to the bathroom during this part, and I pee with the door open so I can still listen to this
Experience
movie.
like you should. Like I would love to do here.
Anytime he does that, and I've
Kevin,
been to
bring me a
Tim's house,
bucket.
I always try to catch him up. He's like, "Oh yeah, I was listening." I was like, "Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't see you left the door open."
Yeah,
Yeah,
leave it up.
You guys are over it.
But Tim's what we call a silent tinkler.
Thank you for that. But what I missed here was that I was under the assumption that it wasn't Willie that built this.
No,
That
it was.
Okay. Then that's absolutely fucking stupid.
And it was just a pointless
Cool.
scene because it didn't really. It added nothing. I thought maybe it was going to add more character development. Like, if anything, it kind of like.
Maybe the prince is gonna come back pissed off.
Well,
try
they
to kill
talked about
Willy.
they talked about the Wonka factory like dealing with losses after that.
Yeah.
And the prince was like, I want another thing. But I thought it was going to lead to more like maybe the prince was the one that had the spies or whatever the hell, you know?
Potentially.
It was just a
But
weird.
no,
I
just
also don't think it would melt from the top. I think it would melt and like fall apart.
heat rises. I don't know. Science. What I'll say is, again, this is another one of those things that I feel like was probably in the book. And when you're reading this in the book, someone telling you a story about how he was so popular, a prince gave him millions of dollars to make a chocolate house. That's awesome. That's all you got to leave it at. But when we see that, and we see the fallout of that, and you beat you over the head with how this thing melted, it just is a fucking slog, man. It's as hard to get through as the actual chocolate would be to get through as it's melting around you.
I also think that the idea that the prince gave him money to build this chocolate castle is like so antithetical to what I think of Willy Wonka when we think about Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory of like
never
Gene
got it.
Wilder is not motivated by money at all.
No.
It's all about the whimsy and the ideas and all of this stuff. So like that also feels really weird to
I
me.
feel like there was a moment where Johnny Depp was like, I'm building this because it's fun and silly.
yeah.
Because there is that moment where he's like, no, I'm going to live in this. It's like, no, you got to start eating it now, right? But like, if Wilder had done that, there would have been a coy subtleness to like, I built this for you because you're an idiot, and I want to see you like, suffer from your own greed and your own.
I thought the prince and the princess were both going to die in the chocolate. And I thought like the families were going to go after Wonka and that started this years
An
of
international
controversy or what.
takedown.
Yeah. Like that's where he kind of like, in a way,
Went into
kind of
hiding.
like Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bruce Wayne is like no longer seen at the manor anymore. Like I thought that was going to be his moment of going into hiding, but it was
it's
added
the
flavor
spies.
that didn't taste good.
Now, I'll tell you what, there's a couple moments in this movie that got me. The moment with the hospital got me. The moment with the flies got me. And when he's like, all these spies kept handing out my secret recipes, and a guy gives a person an envelope that says secret recipes on it. It got me, Tim.
Hey, man.
I laughed.
Hey.
I was like, I
did?
see what they're going for. Yeah, it's dumb and on the nose, but it's fun humor, right? That's the kind of stupid thing. You know why I like that is because when you're a kid, if someone's telling you this story, you imagine the fucking envelope says secret recipes on it, right?
Yeah, but like my
there's
problem
that-
with that is you saying I see what they're going for. They didn't go for that. They did that once or twice, and then
I'm sorry.
had like 5 other or 6 other comedy writers injecting their own forms
Yeah.
of humor that none of it matched up. Like all of it was. Again, we have him crashing in the glass at the end. Like, what is this, dude? And you're mumbling again. What the fuck?
None of that
Stop
shit worked.
joke.
Yeah, but this, if it had just been moments like this and really stupid on the
Yeah.
nose, but kind of fun, creative like moments, I think this movie could have really soared. Anyway, we're not quite done yet. It's so bad that Wonka fired everyone and announced that he's closing his chocolate factory. And for whatever reason, in this particular scene, he sounds like Dr. Evil because he's like, I'm closing my chocolate factory. But the shop eventually did reopen, but no one knows who's running the machines. Grandpa Joe would give anything in the world one more time just to see what's become of the amazing factory, but it's impossible until the next day, which proves Grandma Georgina correct when she said nothing's impossible. Wonka announces his ticket giveaway, and the world goes fucking nuts. But
I'll tell you what else this needed.
come on, it's hilarious.
What
That's
was
funny.
what was
That did
what was
not
also
get me.
needed in the characterization was through a lot of these scenes when these disasters are happening to these kids. I needed the Gene Wilder version of or the Johnny Depp version of Gene Wilder's going, no, please stop.
Yeah.
Don't do that. You know, like I love those little things that he did to kind of make that character show the audience that I know bad shit's happening and they're not going to listen to me, and this is why they're being punished, you know?
Absolutely. The first part of this movie moves very, very slowly. The next part is very, very fast clip. Charlie only gets one candy bar for his birthday every year. Luckily, that's next week. Charlie has as much chance as any, except for the rich kids who can afford to buy a candy bar every day. I like this back and forth a little bit because at one point someone does push back. Like I think it's
The
Grandpa
other
George
old grandpa,
is like,
yeah.
don't fucking give the kid high hopes. Like he can get one. Like statistically speaking, no, the other kids have way more chances because they can buy a candy bar or two every freaking day. The first person to win, of course, is Augustus Gloop. And this is the first kind of shot we get of a character or one of the kids that has like the you know those Sony cameras you like, Andy, where you turn on the face beautification mode.
Mm-hmm. Love those.
This kid's got that in this, and it's off-putting. It looks digital and it looks weird, even though I'm pretty sure they did it digitally, right?
I mean, there are moments of this movie that I'm like, I think that's practical, and I still don't believe it. Like, there's moments of Johnny Depp where I think he hugs Grandpa Joe at the end. He hugs somebody, and I'm like, why does it look like he's green screened? Like that someone's standing there and they green screened him hugging someone because you get the shots of his face. I'm like, it just doesn't look right.
Yeah,
very
everything's
awkward.
got that weird bloom on it. It's awkward.
It's very awkward.
I was gonna say that kid's on pudding because he has all the chocolate on his face. But that's also a Zach Galifianakis joke, so I can't take that. I'm gonna take that away. That's from Between Two Ferns.
okay,
That's
put it-
plagiarism. I'm sorry, H Bomber guy.
Bomber guy, don't come after us.
Yeah.
By
man.
the way, can we have a squirrel song again, please?
Already forgot
Veronica.
Shout out to squirrels.
Veruca is up next. She's terrible. Charlie doesn't think it's really fair how she found the ticket because her dad did the whole factory thing. Thought the factory stuff here was interesting.
I didn't like it.
Really?
The like choreographed movement for the factory, like I don't think did it for me. I think the frenetic energy of like tearing through stuff was like conveyed more of a like the sense of urgency.
Yeah,
And the slow methodical stuff like didn't really play.
I'll agree. I did. The only reason I like this, not more than the original, because I like the original every way, shape, or form, is there when the woman finds the ticket, and we do get that a little bit. She tries to pocket it, right? So we get more of that in this, which I think is way more sinister and is more likely what would happen.
Realistic,
Yeah. Which
That's what we need in
adds
this
to the
movie,
tension
realism.
of it. Well, it adds to the tension of something, right? There's no tension in this movie whatsoever. Mom and Dad come home with Charlie's birthday present a week early, but he gets bub kiss. That's right. There's no golden ticket there. Charlie, of course, then proceeds to share the candy bar with his family, except Grandpa George, who was a dickhead.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding. He didn't. He gave some to Grandpa
you'll
George.
starve,
And
Grandpa
then
Joe.
we cut to one of the other things I enjoyed quite a bit about this movie.
The third golden ticket found.
Karate time.
Karate
Oh my
time.
gosh, yeah.
Why?
I don't know, but I like
Why?
it. Nick. I really like
I thought
it.
that was going to
Ellie.
be more present of a theme.
I'll tell you what.
I thought that was going to continue throughout.
You know?
You know?
No.
Whenever
Get
you-
matching poofy jackets.
I thought she was going to be out there in a gi.
At some point, having to fight something, right? You would think that's called foreshadowing. When you set something up in the first act, it usually comes back in the third act, or at least somewhere. No.
Nope.
She's just a karate person. I'm a karate man, just like me.
Yeah.
I'm a karate man. She's a karate
Karate girl living in a karate world.
Fighting for the soul of the valley.
Weird. And again, unnecessary. Because Violet in the first movie being a person who holds the world record for chewing gum is interesting. It's interesting. Why?
There's not enough pettiness with her about like really hating our friend or whatever.
Yeah, we
That's
needed
what I'm
more
missing.
shout outs to her stupid friend from wherever she lives.
Yeah.
Stupid idiot. I have the record.
It's I don't know. It's just it's like
think
everything
they-
else in this movie. It's like, we'll just throw more stuff at this, and there's value in that, and there's absolutely not. Less is more.
I think if they would have maybe shown a supercut of her in different athletic outfits because it's supposed to give off that she's an overachiever, that all she cares about is being the best in whatever that thing is.
Right.
And her mom only has one trophy.
But we, huh?
And her mom, like she is
Right.
the trophy to her mom because her mom only has whatever the one thing was.
And I wish it was like trophies for everything.
Yeah.
But we got so much of the karate of her beating like
So much
adult
karate.
asses.
Like it could have been karate, archery, horseback riding,
Yeah.
all these things. That would have made sense to me. But all of that goes to underscore the gum chewing thing, which is the most important thing because
Yeah.
it's actually relevant to the fucking plot of this fucking movie.
Yeah.
Because that is how she dies at the end.
They don't eat
Although she
karate
doesn't die at the
candy.
end. Yeah, exactly, right? There's no fucking point in focusing so much on something that's never going to come back because it just leaves the audience
karate
wondering.
in the
And-
first
and-
act used to result.
And an all-valley tournament.
Fucking know this.
Come on.
She just fought all the squirrels.
I mean, that would have been amazing. I do.
I remembered it.
I will say that Missy Pyle as the mom is such a fun casting thing. Missy Pyle needs to be in everything the same way that I think that Parker Posey needs to be in everything.
Her wanting to bang Wonka
Dude,
was...
it was amazing. And another plot point that they just dropped. She gives one little look at Wonka, and I'm like, are they really doing this? Oh, no, they're not. Like, what?
I needed a horny Missy Pyle going
Yes.
after Wonka.
And imagine that scene with Gene Wilder. Because he would have flirted back. It
Oh,
would have been
yeah.
weird. And it would have been like the kind of flirt where it's like, you shouldn't be doing this kind of flirt. Like,
Oh, yeah.
she would have learned, oh my God, this is an inappropriate thing to do by him mirroring whatever she did.
Can you imagine if they allowed Violet's dad to be there too? And she's flirting with Wonka,
Yeah, and the dad's
and
there.
and Wonka's flirting with her, and the dad's just like, "What the fuck's going on?" Like that would have been some.
would've been
Could have been
cool.
something. Now, I do want to give Missy Pyle a shout out, and I'll tell you why. Galaxy Quest.
Galaxy Quest,
Man, if
Oh,
you've never
yes.
seen Galaxy Quest,
Dodgeball, Josie and the Pussycat.
She's
So, like
great.
she's in so many good things.
She's
I
in
just-
everything.
I just remember seeing her.
Those three that we named.
That's everything in the Josie world.
All the greats. I remember seeing her in Galaxy Quest before I really knew who she was, and just thinking this character is stealing the scene in every single.
Yeah.
Like,
Did you watch
Think
the
she's in.
documentary about it?
no, I've been meaning to actually.
It's really fun.
Ooh,
right.
I
and
need
just
to watch it.
hear them talking about like the ad-libby stuff and like getting reactions out of each other for
Oh, man.
like all the sounds and
If
stuff.
we ever
Um,
watch the
very fun.
classic
Those poor
Star
people.
Trek movies, we also need to watch
gotta
Galaxy
put Galaxy
Quest.
Oh
Quest.
yeah,
Similar to
Balls of Fury.
Mortal Kombat and Balls of Fury.
They go hand in hand.
They really or paddle to paddle. Anyway, I digress. Next up is Mike TV, and man, he just drops that word right off the rip. The kicker is he doesn't even like chocolate. He's just really smart and gamed the system. He figured out that where the thing was going to be, and that bada bing, bada boom,
He knew
bada
the
jumble.
algorithm.
Charlie's dad gets shit canned, and the family is even more dire straits than they were prior. Like a cute little moment here where Helen Bonham Carter's like, "We'll figure it out. We'll just put more cabbage in the soup or something like
I
that." You
can't
could always
believe she
bounce
didn't
back.
sing. I
Ellen
just
Bonham
can't
Carter.
believe it. You know what I mean? Goodbye, Charlie. Hello,
Cheer
Charlie.
up, Charlie.
I forget the name. Good luck, Charlie.
Cheer up, Charlie.
Cheer up, Charlie.
Good luck, Charlie.
Good morning.
Ecom. Maybe
Yeah.
a TV show.
Yeah.
Grandpa Joe gives Charlie his secret hoard, which is just a coin.
Oh,
So the boy can buy one more Wonka bar. Charlie once again gets butt kiss. He strikes out. News arrives that the final golden ticket has been found in Russia, of all places. Charlie finds a tenner on the walk home.
Again, I needed that moment of Charlie going to sleep. Give him one more night. Don't break the news to him now
Right.
and let him know that the fifth ticket's been found. Let him have one more night to dream. Like that moment was so beautiful and
good.
magical. And also they tried to kind of replicate it here, but it worked, I think, so much better than the first one. When they see the golden ticket isn't there, he's like, that rapper probably made the chocolate taste bad anyway.
Yeah.
Like I needed those moments from Charlie here, even though I think like Charlie's probably the best part of this movie, just acting wise and just not being a weirdo. I guess all the kids were greatly cast as well, but I wish that they would have, like, it's okay to take those scenes. They were good for a reason.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that's the thing. Like the kid actors, I think are great. I think they give them way too much crazy shit to do, whereas Charlie gets way too little good
Yeah.
things to do.
Yeah.
But I think all the kids were
Yeah,
perfectly cast.
totally.
I just think the writing is really kind of letting them down on this one, unfortunately.
Yeah, I feel like we missed out on those like little character moments that show like how pure of heart he is.
Yes.
And then it's just like,
Le-
okay, I guess he's just a kid.
Let me set the scene for you. He's going to sleep. He's depressed. He knows that the fifth ticket's been found. Super sad. And the parents are like, let him have one more dream. And it's beautiful and it's heartwarming. And he's going to work the next day and he's bummed out. Guy's 58 years old. He just lost his retirement fund. Like he's downtrodden right now, Nick. But he finds some extra money on the ground. And he's like, I'm going to buy one more Wonka bar. Buys the Wonka bar, puts it in his pocket, walks home. Here's the scuttlebutt. Did you hear? It was a fraud. Did you hear? The ticket was fake. Oh my God. And he's like, holy shit. Oh my God. Like, it can't be me, but maybe. And then we get that little gleam that they give you with that music hit. It was so magical and it
It
hit.
doesn't sound like you could film that though. Like that sounds
Goosebumps.
impossible to do.
Yeah.
They couldn't possibly
Guys,
pull
we would-
that off.
Right.
No.
We'd need $40 million CG just to make that scene work.
Yeah. It was around this moment that I wrote down the note. I don't think Tim Burton's good at CG.
He is not, Tim. He is not. The only movie
Flashback to Tim Burton, like, I'm not good at CG, man. Like, shit.
it
This
turns
doesn't
out
look
all
good.
these years. Of course, he goes and he buys it. Bingo! He's got the golden ticket. Everyone immediately starts trying to buy that ticket from him, which this is an element of this movie that I wish the original had. Because he runs
Right.
straight home and tells everyone, and Grandpa Joe is so overexcited, he gets up and he dances a little jig. Everyone gets, here are the stakes. Everyone gets a personalized tour with one of their family members. They can come in, they get all the chocolate they can eat for the rest of their lives, and one kid will win something really, really great. Thankfully, Charlie is the voice of reason in this. He goes, hey guys, we're not going in. And they're like, what are you talking about? And he goes, someone offered me $500 for this ticket. I'm willing to bet someone will offer me more. We should sell this thing.
Look at my favorite line in this whole movie. Grandpa George telling him, they print money every day. There's always money out there. I love that, dude.
Great moment.
So good.
Because he goes, there's only 5 of these tickets in the. He's like, we can always make more money, right? We can always do that, which I would actually argue they can't, but just not great at it, right? If I were their financial advisor, I'd be like, try to get a mill for this ticket, and just move on with your
Yeah.
life. Probably better
Dad's
off.
lost his job.
Yeah, Dad just lose his job at the toothpaste.
At least
factory.
just buy a house where there's at least 2 beds.
Right, exactly, something like that.
You got Charlie living up on the roof with the fucking snow sneaking in. Like, he's got to be so cold up there, dude. That is terrible.
Yeah.
Heat rises, Andy.
Oh, you're right.
He rises,
You're right, Jeff.
fire rises. But I do love that. He's like, there's only 5 of these in the world. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity until they realize they sold $1 billion worth of chocolate, and they do this shit every single year.
Yeah.
Everyone wakes up at 10 a.m. to enter the factory, and Mike's dad looks like Jeffrey Dahmer from that Netflix series. The
does,
gate
yeah.
opens, and Wonka comes over the loudspeaker, and this is just an odd, fucking boring.
He also looks like Edward James Olmos in Santa Deliver.
He looks more like that. That's a better pool. Can we rewind this? Cut that part in. Everyone come into the factory. I'm Dr. Evil. The gate will now close. Now walk toward me. It's like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Why is this happening? Who thought this was a good idea? Tim Burton, who made fucking the 1989 Batman and Beetlejuice and fucking Edward Scissorhands, made this fucking movie, and he stood in the fucking editing room and watched this scene and said, this is it. This is my fucking magnum opus. This is what I want to put in front of Nick, a 25-year-old Nick, and ruin his fucking childhood.
Audio listeners, I hope you're okay with all the thumping on that.
I apologize. I like to
gonna be the
apologize.
big
Have time going down. We need to clip it out.
Anyway, they go in, and we get the Bioshock moment, I'll call that, where the little 1960s dolls kind of pop up, and everything's really, really creepy, and everything lights on fire. And that's your first instance that this movie is going to be a garbage truck on fire.
But you know what movie did those little singing puppet dollhouse things better, Andy?
Grease
Sending it
2?
to you. No,
Oh.
Shrek.
Ah, right.
So much better.
Yeah,
I would never know.
good moment. One day.
We're gonna get there.
And he just shot me.
I shot him a glare, bro.
One of these days, we're gonna do Shrek in review, and Tim's gonna be like, you know what? This song way better than the one in Willy
The Willy Wonka
Because
song?
you know what pissed me off? I can no longer do that. I wouldn't know about mac and cheese. I haven't had it, but you can do that with Shrek still. You're so lucky.
I'm so lucky.
But one day Eddie Murphy's going to be like, I would like a paycheck.
Shrek 5, 2025.
Oh, that's right.
happening.
Let's see. I put this note in. Again, take it or leave it. One thing I really liked about the original movie is how small and unimposing the original factory looked. It was like, it's just, again, going into the magic of like, you have this small factory, but then you go in and there's this massive garden,
Larger
and there's
than
other
life.
rooms, this whole larger than life. Again, similar to like the Room of Requirement or any of the magic in a Harry Potter movie or something like that, where you walk into this little thing and it's this big thing and it's cool. And
Mary
it's
Poppins effect.
the Mary Poppins effect is a better way of putting that. Let's see. We get the everything gets lit on fire.
There's the line, Nick, that's like parents, dads, mom and papa.
Mama, Papa.
That's going to get Nick.
That did get me. Our first shot of Willy Wonka here. Again, I am a sucker for this type of humor where the camera just pans over and the main character, the big character is just there the whole time. He's like, how else would I be able to watch the show? I'm like, okay. I don't hate it.
I didn't hate it.
It's weird, and I hate his haircut. I don't know why they literally mirrored this off of Anna Wintour. I don't fucking get it, but I'll accept it, and we'll just move on.
We will just move on.
What's with the goggles?
I don't know, dude.
My TV. Don't think about it.
Don't
Okay.
think about it. They head in past the smoldering remains, and Augustus asks, do you want to know our name? And he goes, I can't imagine how it would matter. And it's when the main character of the movie tells you that I don't give a fuck about any of these other characters, and they'd say it over and over and over again, I think the audience stops giving a fuck about these other characters. It's hot inside because the workers really love the hot climate. Wonka is addicted to all the kids and can't say the words parents without throwing up. He's got some issues with his father.
I will say, like, you mentioning that line about I can't imagine how it would matter, right? It's kind of almost mirrored to Gene Wilder's, where initially he's welcoming him all in. Oh, Mike TV, I've heard so much about it, blah, blah, blah. And Mr. and Mrs. So, like, he's so gracious, right? And that gives us a really great impression of him. Aside from the whole, like, was he injured or not? That whole thing. But this all feels very, very nice and welcoming and warm. But then here, it's like, it's definitely the opposite work, because later on in the movies, Gene Wilder's Wonka would have dropped lines like, I can't imagine how that would matter. You know,
Right.
like he would do
He
stuff
would say
like that.
Yeah.
And it would make sense in the moment. But here, that starting off on that foot just felt it felt like, oh, we got to show him that we got the sort of Gene Wilder, attitude here. And then they kind of like then it was just like silly, goofy laughs.
Yeah, it's hard to put, but Gene Wilder's asides, all those moments where he says things under his breath, were really for the audience. You're watching those thinking what he's about to say, and he says it, and you go, oh yeah, these people are pieces of shit. I would love to say that to them, right? But in this one, it just is like, Willy Wonka comes off like a petulant child. He just comes off like a spoiled little shithead who's never had friends growing up.
Yeah, he's one of the kids. Like
Yeah.
I think that's the point, maybe, but it's not really good.
Not a fun way.
Just right here, he goes, everything here is eatable. Even I am eatable, but that's called cannibalism, my dear children.
This is the first time in the movie that I laughed, because it felt like the most cadence and referencey joke that Gene Wilder would have made.
Yeah.
Let's see. They come in. They go into the little door, which we get the little door sequence, which is not done with a lot of pomp and circumstance. And then we enter into the candy garden, which is also not really done with a lot of pomp and circumstance. If you remember, this was the moment in the first movie, where we really got a glimpse of what was inside. And it blew my mind when I was a kid. Wait a minute. A massive garden with a waterfall of chocolate and a river of chocolate running through where everything is edible. That's incredible. And in this one, it's just
There were no like music hits either. Like,
No
I'm not
music
asking for I would love a song right there. I would love Pure Imagination, but there was nothing that really kind of hyped it up that, hey, like this world that you've been kind of maybe hearing about inside of this building. You've grown up, you've heard about Wonka, you've heard the legends. All of that is true right here. Check out this fucking room. Everything is eatable.
Look at this fucking room.
There's a chocolate waterfall, and like it lacked any sort of magic.
Not only that, but it was mean. At one point, Mike TV rips off one of the bulbs, smashes it on the ground, and then just starts stomping into it. And when his dad's like, what are you doing? He's like, who cares? Like, I'm just mad.
I think that's the added element of the competition of one person's gonna win something crazy, because I think it changes the focus of the kids, where they're like, we don't really give a fuck about anything else in this factory other than the fact that we want to win the prize, whatever it is.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's
They don't
like
care.
none of this matters. What is like the competition factor?
Yeah.
We get our first shot of an Oompa Loompa here, played by Deep Roy. And then we get a flashback of Wonka Land going to the Loompa Land and explaining just exactly how these things came to be and why they're in his factory. And again, I going back to, the more you explain and show something, the less imaginative and fun it is.
And here's the thing: you use the word fun there, but the more like morally corrupt and deeply disturbing it is, and I feel like there's something about that when like it's just clear that he has these little slaves. It's like, this is disturbing and weird and wrong. When it's just told and shown to you this way,
Right.
you're like, this. I feel uncomfortable watching this.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like they overshow and overdo things in so many ways. But I did not like this, at all.
Especially when you say the reason why they came was because they really liked the cacao bean, the coca bean.
And he's
excuse
like,
me.
I can give you all
and
you
he's
want.
like, I'll just give you all that you want. And it's like, it's very much an analog for early colonialism in America, where they're like, we'll
100%.
just give you these beads. They mean nothing to us. You can just come work for us for nothing.
How do they know how to sing in English when they couldn't talk in English to him?
I mean, you figure they've had nothing but time. He doesn't give them TVs or anything. They just got to figure it out. He gives them books.
I mean, that's crazy. Like, I can
They're
maybe
supposed to be very
sometimes talk
smart.
in Spanish, but I can't like write a song in Spanish. You know what I mean? Like,
We
they
could
just
start
fully
right
do it in
now.
English. Good for
We're trying to
them.
start right now. Let's see. We'll just go past all that. Augustus falls into the river, and Wonka
me?
delights in watching the boy
do
get
something.
sucked into the pipe. I think what it boils down here is that in the original movie, you're not sure if you can trust Wonka, but you do like him. Anyway, we've talked about this a little bit.
And I think too, in this version, the Oompa Loompas have so much more of like a presence, and they feel more like minions that he's controlling, and like an overarching thing of like, you are in a situation that you don't realize is so sinister.
Yeah.
Whereas the other one felt a little bit more fun with a little like the balance is just off compared to the other.
Well, the other one too felt like they were a people that had like personalities and like individual things. This felt like clones, and it felt like even when they're dressed different or saying different things, they're still the same person, and they're all moving exactly the same. It reminded me of a Chips Ahoy commercial. Yeah, like it was just you know what I mean? It was just-
Dancing cookies?
yeah.
Was it because their hair had that the Oompa Loompas' hair had that little curl that looks like a chocolate chip?
It was something about how synchronized all of their movements were, which I know is by choice. I just really didn't like the choice.
Yeah.
And that was one of those things in 2005 when you look at those, because I remember getting little featurettes and seeing all the different green screens from the different angles that they had to film them all in. So it looks like they were all sort of standing and dancing at the same time. And that was probably cool in 2005, but
So you
just
saying that's
doesn't
funny
age.
because this scene with Augustus getting brought up the pipe, and like there's a lot more pomp and circumstance of him kind of whirlpooling around it and the songs playing and all that. I remember vividly in 2000, like late 2005 at that point, going on Kazaa and downloading like just typing in like the most impressive movie scenes and things like that. And this was on every one of those like top 10 lists. Like this scene was like, man, this is the best looking. It was this and like every Matrix fight scene. And I'm like, how are these on the same level to us back then?
The Matrix fight scenes looked bad too in the Matrix
Well,
Revolutions.
there's that, yeah.
He gets sucked up into that thing, man, and we get the first of the Oompa Loompa songs. I know you guys kind of like these. I don't like these.
I
I,
don't
think
like
they go on way too long.
Oh yeah, they need to be half the length.
And I think that the original songs, the original cadence and the lyrics and the melody of the original Oompa Loompa song, even though they changed it throughout the movie, I think is iconic. These are just a kind of exactly what the rest of the movie is, which is just a bunch of shit thrown at the screen. I don't love that it's the same actor playing all the Oompa Loompas.
I agree.
You lose any sort of like originality with it, and it's kind of like it is like when you first started animating and you just cloned the dancer. Like now they know when they do crowd shots for anything, any video game or any movie, that you have to have a lot of variance in all of the actors right next to each other, even if they're dancing. And in this one, there just wasn't enough. And I couldn't tell you what one of these songs was about or what the melody was for it. Granted, I've watched Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the original, probably 20 times. So oompa doompa doompa dee dee is on the top of my head, but my tongue, but tip my tongue, but whatever. Anyway, Augustus gets sucked up. Off you go, Mom. Go get him. He's going to be in the fudge factory, whatever. Johnny, they talk for a very long time, perhaps way too long, about the improvisationalness of this number. They go back and forth. You had to surely know that it was good. You wrote that song, but yeah, this, cut it down.
It was
Editor, cut this
one line
fucking part
about it.
out.
It's just like a fun thing. Good. Yeah. Wow.
And they're
Yeah.
like, wow, that's probably the best thing we've got. We got to keep on going with it.
Probably.
I also don't really. I know you said you liked it, Tim, but the line about like, oh, how do they know to make the song about whatever the line that Charlie has? Because it feels similar to how Andy said that the whole reason that Charlie wins is because he's like figured it out and he's like as smart versus like his reward being because he is like a good person. And I think that just changes the dynamic in a way that I don't.
Well,
like
also
that.
Charlie in the original movie kind of got it, and he kind of gets it here too. There's a line later where he's like, "Candy's not supposed to be like rational or whatever." I'll get to it later. I think I wrote it down, but like Charlie would have watched this Oompa Loompa number, and he should have been like, "That was magical." I get it. I don't want an explanation as to why they knew who Violet was or who Augustus was. This is just the magic of this factory. I'm vibing with it right now. I'm not asking questions. I wrote a number in here too. I mean, I just think the soundtrack of this movie is terrible. No disrespect to Danny Elfman. I love him and everything else, but man, it's just wrong. It's sci-fi and horror-y and off-putting and not fun at all.
It's not cohesive. It's all over the place in a way. I tend to really enjoy Danny Elfman's music, and I like when he experiments with electronic stuff. I like so much of it. I really disliked it, and like the scene we're about to get to, the lack of pure imagination and what they do instead is like, yikes.
I wrote a note here. I really wish this movie had been directed by Barry Sonnenfeld. If you're not familiar with that person, he was the person that directed all the Men in Black movies. And Danny Elfman scored those movies as well. And all of those movies had the magic that this movie I wish had, which was walking into the MIB headquarters and seeing all the actual aliens walking around, and that just being totally commonplace for Tommy Lee Jones, I think is what is the vibe of what all these scenes needed to have.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's a really good pull.
Let's see. Then Charlie asks if he remembers what it was like to be a kid. Oh, they get on board the boat, and this scene just goes on forever. Wonka repeats himself about the waterfall, and everyone's like, "You already said that?" I'm like, "Why is that in this?"
The notes I have here, 3 separate notes: Wakanda Forever, Violet's mom trying to fuck Wonka, and then Count Dooku, Wonka's dad.
Badass.
Yeah, that's right. When the Oompa Loompas agree, they do the Wakanda Forever.
Oh, do they really?
Like when they decide, like, oh yeah, we're gonna make this agreement. You're gonna come back with me. I'm gonna give you everything y'all need. They do the little chest pound.
Yeah,
That's
and
pretty
I saw it, and then
Okay.
I went off on a little Tim tangent where I was like,
Tempting.
okay, cool. Like, did they take that from Black Panther? And I was like trying to work things out in my mind. And I was like, I actually don't know if the Wakanda Forever salute is from the comics or if that was just a movie creation.
A good chance
Did a
it's a
little
movie
research. Straight up movie creation.
Yeah.
Wasn't in the comics at all. Now it's in the comics. Now it's
Yeah.
like they've added that in. It's become canon. But the director Ryan Coogler was inspired by like sarcophagus situations.
I was gonna say I would be shocked if he stole that from this movie. I'm sure it was parallel thought.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel you. Let's see. Man, we get the boat sequence. We get the flashback with the dad who's Count Dooku. And it's like he throws the candy into the thing, and it's like sad.
Why
I was
do
gonna
you
say, how-
always say it like that?
No, he doesn't say Dooku.
Yeah, he did.
I did.
But he
in
doesn't
review.
always say that.
That's how it's
really?
supposed to be
Interview,
pronounced.
yeah.
God, I hate him.
That's how not Anakin, Obi-Wan pronounces it, and he speaks the Queen's language, British.
Again, another sequence right here, Nick,
No.
where the first movie he's doing the microscope thing with the microphone again, where
I have to pee
there's
so
no
bad.
earthly way of knowing.
Yeah.
Where's there what another iconic
God.
scene that we're gonna just skip by because this isn't a musical.
Nope.
And so much of what makes these scenes good is because of the musical numbers, and it's just another big miss. It's just another massively missed opportunity.
Joey, I have to go to the bathroom. Take over. This is
Oh,
where we're gonna
this
start
one.
right there.
Here we go.
Oh, no.
I wonder
If it
where we're
misspelled,
going.
Okay.
I really hope he didn't write anything in there for you to prank you.
Oh
or
yeah, like
anything.
just now. We get to the boat sequence and they pass the cream rooms, including hair cream to quote lock in moisture.
Didn't get a laugh out of me, but it did get a kind of want to laugh.
To
at
lock
this.
in my moisture.
I hate that voice, and I hope we never.
It
get
is
it
the
again.
worst thing you've ever done to me, Andy.
Because I'm watching it and I feel physically uncomfortable, man.
Then we pass to the next room, which did get a little bit of a laugh from me, which is the Oompa Loompas whipping the cow.
The whipping cream.
Whipped cream.
I was like, oh, this is funnier than the hair thing.
Kevin, can we get the chat back up on the left TV?
Then they sailed to the inventing room, which thankfully has some practical props, not enough to make it fun.
Don't really have too much bad to say about this room. Like this was a moment where I was like, oh, okay. This isn't completely creatively bankrupt.
Yeah, I don't.
Didn't
I'm
love it,
already
but
already forgetting what this room even was.
It looked like the room in the first one.
Okay.
Is this the
Kinda
one that's
just
like
there.
darker in color that has like a lot of conveyor belts, or is that the next?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then like a lot of like the different machines and stuff that did have a lot of pops of color, but it at least felt like the colors belonged together.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And then this is where they see the everlasting gobstopper, and that's where they get that.
Which again, no threat to steal it.
No.
Because this is the moment in the first one where you're like, oh, here we
Uh-oh,
are.
Who's
Yeah.
gonna do it?
Who's gonna be the one? Like that's what Slugworth was probably telling all the other kids. Who's gonna be the one to freaking cave in?
Yeah.
The first one we see Veruca Salt crossing her fingers behind her back, like I can't promise I'm not gonna steal this shit, Wonka.
Yeah, and there's all those looks in between the parents and stuff like that. In the first one, that has way more meaning than the ones that they do here.
Yeah.
He then shows them hair toffee for beatniks.
Whatever.
I don't
Yeah.
I don't remember that. I don't know if this is like a Nick joke thing.
I don't know what any of that means. Was
No.
that Nick or Johnny Depp?
No, I do remember him saying that because he's like, you got what I'm saying, you cool cat? You fucking this and jive turkey or forget what he
don't
he just
remember
says shit that like they're just throwing stuff at the wall at this point, just hoping that something sticks.
Yeah, and I think the thing with Willy Wonka in this is that everything he says always feels like he's trying to impress everybody, and that no one cares. And so there's just the responses to everything are not. None of this is like whimsical or fun. This is hard. Your job's hard.
It's fun though, isn't it? Where are
We
we
don't
at?
really understand the beatnik hair thing.
I'm sorry. Again, no one does. It makes people grow hair, and only people that should have long hair are beatniks. That was a joke that they said in the movie. And then Cousin It comes out. Remember when the kids comes
yes.
because it makes them grow hair for some
But
stupid
this
reason.
was the line where he's like, where he just starts like, and isn't that cool? Yeah, jive turkey.
Yeah.
Like, this is the line,
That's
right?
the line,
And
yeah.
it's just he just keeps on going.
Yes.
It's like this is all bad.
Violet eats the gum and turns into a blueberry. And this somehow looks worse than a movie that was made 24 years prior. Weird. Terrible CGI.
Atrocious.
Atrocious. We get another very long Oompa Loompa song, and off we go to the next room. Charlie asks Willie if he can
I
remember
don't even remember what this song was. This wasn't a memorable one for me as much as the Augustus Gloop and the chewing one.
This is Violet's.
Or is this the
This
chewing
is
one?
chewing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Then maybe I don't remember Is there a song for the squirrels? There must be.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a squirrel song. Yeah.
And the whole time in that squirrel sequence, Veruca. Like, dude, like,
Meanwhile,
go
your
the fuck
daughter
down there.
Is getting like it was violent what these squirrels were doing to her.
do you remember
The 21st night of September.
the movie Kung Pao?
Yes, I do.
The karate parody movie,
Three
right?
boobs.
Yeah. Do you remember when he kept on like when he's gonna go save the lady, he's like, I'm coming. And then she's like, please help. And then it just shows like him further away and he's like, I'm coming. Like that's all I kept on thinking here, because like the daughter's been in danger for at least 3 minutes now, being dragged away by squirrels. Veruca. And he just keeps on looking around. Veruca.
Well, he couldn't get past the little gate.
Oh,
It's
so
2 feet
annoying.
tall.
Fucking, hey, Wonka, do something. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Well, that brings me to a point that we'll get to a bit later, but I'll just say it now. Nobody in this movie reacts to anything, ever, because they're just sitting in a room that's presumably just green. There's a
Yeah.
moment at the end of this film where
There it
they are
is.
falling in a glass elevator to their death, and Grandpa Joe, a man who is 80 years old, is like this. That's as much as you get out of him. And then when they're safe, he goes,
you're so right.
that's it. And it's the same problem we had with, to draw the parallel again, Phantom Menace, where no one knew what the fuck they were looking at the entire time. So what am I
We keep
supposed to
talking about
react
Phantom
to?
Menace. Just to be clear, Phantom Menace was majority practical. It was Attack of the Clones.
Okay,
Attack of the
Attack of
Clones
the
had a lot
Clones.
of the hallways. Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of the CG
I don't
hallways.
know if it's like good that we're talking about Attack of the Clones and Dark Knight Rises. It's like
Well, okay, let's just be clear. Dark Knight
Different
Rises
territory.
completely
Different
Yeah.
category for
but
sure.
all in all, not a great placement.
No, we're not. I mean, we're with any of the prequels. We're not in great company. Anyway, we get that song. Charlie asks Willie if he can remember the first candy he ever ate, and he does. It was one of the candies that he had picked out of his dad's
He
fireplace.
says no.
Oh, he does.
He says I don't, and then there's a flashback
Yeah.
of him showing he does.
And then it just started an addiction that would last for years. They enter the squirrel room where Wonka has squirrels deshelling nuts. Kind of love this. Kind of love everything
Kind
about
of great. Yeah.
I wish the squirrels were practical. I don't know how you would train a
Bigger
team of
muffs.
squirrels to do that. They got those big muffs in their tails.
Fucking word.
But
I'm just looking for this part in the script. I downloaded the PDF, so I'll be performing it.
You
and I hope you
downloaded
look
the
forward to it.
PDFs of the script of this movie.
Sure did.
That's hilarious.
Andy's very technically inclined.
I think Andy's about to get back into his like theater days. You know, we're learning a lot about it.
Andy was. Who did you play in the original? Slugworth.
Slugworth, big
Oh.
dog.
Badass.
Were you also Jafar? Or do they want you to be Jafar?
They wanted me, and I said no.
You know, my
I want
buddy.
to be Aladdin. I want to take my shirt off, and I want to sing beautiful harmonies. And they said, but we're giving it to the other guy who sings better than you, who's like actually trained, and he's a better vocalist. And I was like, I want to go play baseball. And
you're
then
Troy Bolton,
and then I
though,
tore my
man.
rotator cuff.
Oh,
Couldn't play.
tough.
You never acted again.
They wouldn't let me back in, Nick.
Once
No
you're
joke.
out, you're out, bro.
I went to go back to audition for another play, and I was like, well, I won awards at like other big competitions, acting competitions, where like they gave me best actor. I won like all Valley type shit, and they didn't let me back in. They didn't cast me for a while. I was like, oh, they're not happy with me. This is bullshit, Tim. Yeah,
Fucked up, bro.
They're-
Never
that's
leave.
Totally,
We need to do revenge.
totally true, dude. It was a bummer.
You know what we're gonna do next year? We're gonna do our own stage play, and you're gonna be the star, and we're gonna invite all those people back.
Okay.
And then the stage play is gonna be about how we kill them one by one. We get the squirrel room. I love how this is designed. I love the big funnel in the middle that's got like the swirl in it. The end of the room, the squirrels contest for bad nuts. Again, not a parlance that we say in America. Let us know in the comments below if you're listening to this or watching this on YouTube if they say that in your country. We call them bad eggs in America. Bad eggs, because a bad egg will make you sick. A bad nut, who the fuck? You see it, you go, that's gross. It's a bad nut. You throw it the fuck out. I digress. Veruca
It
wants
could be
one.
like the when you get a bad M&M though, and you're just like, oh, this left a bad piece to my
That
mouth,
is
you
tough.
know?
Or it might crack your tooth.
Oh.
See, I feel like the bad nut isn't necessarily that the nut's bad.
How big's the muff?
What am I fucking saying?
Is the muff big?
like, what is the sentence that just came out of my goddamn mouth? I think it's more like when there's no nut in it. You know what I mean? Like, or you can't get it open.
Oh,
you know?
like a pistachio shell
Yeah.
nut where you go, I'm going to crack my tooth on this and it's not worth
There's
it.
like nothing, or like you open it
That's
and there's
tough.
nothing in it. Like,
Talk about a
me and
Sophie's
Joey were
choice.
just talking about fortune cookies. Recently opened a fortune cookie. There's nothing in it, man. Didn't
That's
feel good.
Bad vibe for
I
you.
never read my fortune.
Oh, you didn't. After all of that.
Veruca, of course, gets told no, she can't have a golden squirrel. And the squirrel, and she's like, fuck it, I'll take this goddamn squirrel myself. She runs down there.
Golden.
And man, these golden squirrels attack her and they claw her fucking face off like Rocket did the High
squirrels,
Evolutionary.
Dude, honestly, it's somehow more violent because they
it's-
don't claw. They just
No.
start to slowly like
It's like the
pin her
compies.
down, and it's like, I really don't like this.
I don't like where
It's
this is
weird
going.
that she doesn't fight back though. She doesn't even like attempt
Nick's
to
point,
roll
though,
over.
She doesn't know what
Zero
he's
fucks
fighting.
given. She's like, I don't know. What's
I don't know what's happening. Yeah.
Yeah, it reminded me of the compy scene in the intro to Lost World. The little girl sees a little dinosaur. She's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh my god, it's a little cute dinosaur. And they all start kind of swimming.
yeah.
But then she screams
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. You're right.
Because the director said, okay, I need you to scream now.
because
Like
this
there's
is
like a
scary.
1,000 little tiny monsters about to eat you alive. And that kid probably had to go to therapy for the rest of her life. That's good direction. One of the squirrels.
Die?
What's that?
Didn't she die?
I don't think she dies in that movie. I think she runs out, right?
Oh,
Am I crazy?
I assume she died.
Maybe.
We all watched.
I
this.
meant the
It's so
actress.
hard.
I meant the actress had to go to
Oh, I thought you
therapy.
meant the character.
No, the actress. That's good. Good direction is you traumatize all the actors, right?
Yeah.
Not everyone
No,
to school
don't
for
yeah
direction.
him. Just
I went
don't.
to school.
Yeah,
I
don't
went to
even-
school for writing.
Don't,
Method
don't hit A
acting.
to make the text keep going.
One of the squirrels knocks her down, and the rest, one of the 8 knocks her head, and it's a bad nut. She tests positive for that. Then they throw her down the drain. We get another dance number, and her dad's like, "Oh no, I'm not gonna." Willy Wonka
Veruca?
finally lets him in, and he goes and he looks over, and the last little squirrel jumps up and kicks him in the butt, and he goes all the way down the tunnel
What's the
himself.
bad nut song?
I'm looking up. I have
Andy,
the
you wanna
script.
sing it?
Yeah, I
Nuts.
have the script
Nuts.
open right
Nuts.
here. Here we go. She will meet as she descends a rather different set of friends. A fish head, for example, cut this morning from a halibut. A bacon rind, some rancid lard, a loaf of bread gone stale and hard. What is this song
all the garbage.
about?
Yeah.
Just
Oh,
going to
you're
the
right.
garbage.
These, let's see here. Oh, a lot of other things as well, each with a rather horrid smell. These are Veruca's newfound friends that she will meet as she descends. That's not
It
the
is-
right melody, but that's just those are the lyrics.
It's weird that the whole song is about just the trash. It's not really about her.
Yeah.
Well, she's trash also.
You're fucking trash,
let's see. Wonka
bro.
takes everyone into the glass elevator, which goes everywhere in the factory, including right past Fudge Mountain, which is what happens to me every time I have Del Taco food.
Oh.
They go by
Also,
the
weren't
Bubba.
Oompa Loompas afraid, like not cool with cold?
Yeah, they don't like
You
cold.
said at the beginning of the movie.
They don't like cold.
And they're climbing this frozen mountain. You know
It's
what I
true.
mean?
You're making it a lot of sense.
You said like they don't go outside because they don't work with the cold. That's why it's so hot in here. Remember when they were like, "Hey man, it's fucking steaming up," and he was like, "Yeah, that's the climate that they like."
They
But
go
they're
right.
out there on that mountain just with like a goggle and like a jumpsuit, like doing stuff on Fudge Mountain,
I mean, at Fudge Mountain.
packing up that Fudge Mountain.
They go past the Puppet Hospital and Burn Center, which is relatively new. I think this is a funny
Decent
beat.
line,
That
good
was
line.
good.
I think this
Funny callback.
this deserved a better movie to be wrapped around
Yep.
it, because could you imagine if this movie was great and the realization that they made this whole thing like in the last 5 minutes
Very
since
funny.
they started this adventure?
Yeah.
It's funny. And then we go into the fireworks scene. And this is my personal favorite scene in the entire movie. Not because it looks good, not because it has any point, but because Mike TV asked a question that's been on my mind for an hour and 22 minutes. Why is everything in here completely pointless? That is this movie in a nutshell. No
Oh,
pun
no,
intended.
bad
Can I
news.
just call out
Fun is
another?
not fun.
Not
Can I
fun.
just call out another line that I hate. You're all quite short, aren't you? Well, yeah, we're children. That's not much of an excuse. I was never as short as you. You were once. Never. For instance, I distinctly remember putting a hat on the top of my head. Look at your short arms. You could never reach. I hate that.
Now
Like,
imagine Tim Burton
I hate
sitting in an
it.
editing
Oh
room,
my god. Here we go.
watching that line and thinking to myself, we fucking nailed this. This is putting me in a different echelon. He uses the word echelon of filmmakers with this film.
I don't think we can call
Academy
this-
Awards is what I'm
call
going to
this
get.
a
Plural.
film. We can't
I'm
call
going to
this
get
a film.
awards for this movie is what Tim Burton
It
thought he
really
was gonna make
does
with this.
feel like they were so comfortable in knowing
They
that
just
this
thought he
was an
had it.
IP that's going to.
Yep.
How could we fail here? Like fill in the blanks. We have the key plot points. We don't got to do much else, but it's just like none of the rest of it works. I still
Anyway,
can't find the stupid line.
Charlie
I'm
tells him
giving
the
up.
candy doesn't need to have a point. Good line.
Yeah, again,
That's why it's
good
candy.
line, but it's like it's not backed up by stuff. But I was like, huh, okay.
But that to be the line that Wonka looks at him and goes, "This kid's special."
Yeah.
It's just not earned, man.
We get another flashback of Willie running away from college because he finally came out to his dad and told him that he likes candy. His dad's like, not under my roof. And he goes, well, I'm going to go find all the candy from the rest of the world, all over the world, Pop, and you'll see. And his dad says, and I quote, well, when you come back, I won't be here. And you think that's hyperbole. But we get the flag sequence, which kills me. And then he
good.
comes back and the whole house is gone.
Yeah.
That fucking got me too. I was like, I see what they wanted to do with
Yeah.
this, right? The house, the whole, not his dad knock on the door. Who are you? No, I've lived here for. The whole fucking thing's
thing.
gone.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Oh man, what shoulda, woulda, coulda. Let's see. We get. Let's see. We go to the television room now. We get the reimagined white room where everything is weird, and they wear those hilarious goggles. I like the way everything looks here. Again,
I'm happy you said that. I do not like the look of the goggles. It just bothers me.
they're too extra. They're distracting.
It's very bad Star Wars. There are multiple things about this scene that I like. It makes me a bad person. It really does. But the 2001 Space Odyssey
Hilarious.
setup, I really enjoyed
Hilarious.
it. Him saying, don't push my button. And then he goes and pushes a button. It was just like, God damn it. Why is this making me actually laugh? And then the Mike TV song itself. Easily my favorite of the songs. Not so much for the song element, but more just for they went hard on the video edit, like the actual TV stuff of like different musicals and different like commercials and different like newscasts and just types of TV shows. I was like, this is pretty damn cool. I enjoy this.
Creative.
Yeah.
Fun. To go back to the goggles, I made a note where I wish that they had a better beat here where Willie, because he's like, if those particles hit your eyes, it'll like melt your eyes, whatever it is. I wish he had given them. He had big goggles, and they had ones that like barely covered your eyes, like Jordy LaForge goggles, where it's like they're constantly putting them on to make sure that they're not getting completely blinded by whatever's happening here. Just something stupid like that, but they never did.
I did also like the concept of Mike TV being like, "This isn't. You made a teleporter."
Yeah,
Like,
this is the single most. I think he says the single most like important advancement of technology in human history.
I did enjoy that, yeah. But then I love the reasoning of, well, if you're watching a commercial, you could reach out and grab and try that chocolate. Like,
Kind of awesome.
it's such a cool, weird thing to have in here, and it just doesn't. It's those little moments of what feel like good imaginative writing just don't really mash up with anything else around it.
Mike decides that Wonka's an idiot, so he's going to try to teleport her out for himself. Of course, we know how this turns out. He winds up small, take him to the stretching room, and that's it, man. let's see. Charlie is the only one left, so congratulations.
I was scared
kid.
Mike TV was gonna drop another R word, man. I'm telling you.
On the way out.
In a little
no one,
squeaky voice.
no one catches it, just one comment.
Really
It's like,
worried
hey, did you hear
about
that
it.
last thing you said? We got to go back in and re-edit the whole thing. Hey, guess what, Charlie? You're the last man standing. Congratulations, you've won. Oh, what if I won? Well, let's get in the elevator and find out. They go up and out. And again, love how no one at all is reacting to any of this. Grandpa
Now,
Joe's
This scene,
completely
though,
blank.
this is the first time I've liked Depp's Wonka a little bit. When they say, "Where are we going? Up and out." Do you really mean? And he goes, "Yeah, I do." He just laughs. So I was like, "This is really good." But then it's fucking weird. Andy said earlier, but like all the glass elevator stuff in this just stank, man. Like it was not fun.
There-
it was oddly like choreographed. Like
I also hate that there's no reaction or movement to anything. Like
Yeah. Grandpa
Just-
Joe has a
there's-
side. That's pretty much it.
there's no movement inside. Like the fact that they like come to a screeching halt. Like I need them to like, holy shit. There's none of that.
Inertia, gravity, physics.
It's really. It just felt like very like they didn't know they were in an elevator moving like that. Like they decided after the fact that we're gonna make this a completely erratic sort of ride. You know.
Danny Elfman, or not Danny Elfman, Tim Burton must have said
Danny
a billion times, "Oh, we'll just do, we'll
figure
fix
it
it in
out.
That's in
post."
post, yeah.
And it's just like, oh, you guys didn't even.
it was around here that I did write the note. This movie sucks? Question mark.
And
You're
again, you know, me and Greg talk about this next thing a lot, this next little piece of feedback where they don't make movies like they used to for kids, right? Do we know if the kids died or lived in the 1971 version of this movie?
No.
No. Did we give a fuck walking out of there? No. Because they got whatever it was they deserved. We trust Willy Wonka when we leave that theater. We're like, whatever, it doesn't matter. Of course, this movie was made in 2005. You can just tell this is the start of Twitter and the internet, and we didn't want any parents being pissed off. So what do we see? The kids walking out of the factory safe and sound, albeit not looking the way they used to, and probably forever altered in their lives. It's specifically Mike TV, who looks like he's one-dimensional as he's walking out. It's just fucking crazy.
Oh
Or
my
two-dimensional, I
god,
should
dude!
say.
Farouk saw
Two-dimensional.
walking out like a bad guy in Silent Hill or something.
Are you talking about Violet? Where she walks
Violet,
out,
yeah.
Violet, where she walks out purple and can bend herself
Her
in 50
head is
different
like
ways.
doing weird shit.
Pretty crazy. Anyway, the glass elevator smashes through the roof of Charlie's old hut, killing Grandpa George, and everyone is excited to see them. Wonka tells the buckets that Charlie is...
Killing Grandpa George.
Yeah, I just want to see if you guys caught that or not. I kind of want that old guy to die. Exactly. But
Can you
instead...
imagine if at the end you hear that, you see Jigsaw? That would make this whole thing worth it.
That would be incredible.
All your life, Charlie, you've been poor.
You've always liked chocolate. Well, now
Soft
you're going to have
Willy
to force
Wonka
chocolate
mask.
down people's throats.
You found that $10 bill on the ground. You didn't even think to return to anybody. You took it for yourself.
I didn't even think to give it to his dad, who just lost his job. The glass ale, let's see. Wonka tells Buckets that Charlie has won the entire factory, but instead of it being a fun moment that validates Charlie's constant struggle for being a good person versus having no money, we just cut to Willy Wonka getting a haircut and discovering a gray hair. He realized he must have he needs an heir before he dies, and presumably, I'm not gonna read that next part.
Yeah.
Let's just let that one go. Man, I want this movie to be over. One catch: if Charlie goes with him to Wonka's factory, he can never see his parents again. Why? Oh, because Willy Wonka hates his parents. Willy, you're a very smart guy. Do you think it's really reasonable that Charlie's never going to see his parents if he lives in the fucking house 1 block up the road from here? Is he not? Is he going to be a prisoner just like the Oompa Loompas up there? What was your plan here, big dog? Of course.
Is he gonna also hold like not power of attorney, but like
I imagine it's power of attorney over Charlie. And if she's like, if you talk to your parents again, I
he
put
like
you in a hole.
adopt Charlie?
It's a whole Britney Spears situation.
Oh,
It's going to be a
wow.
whole
Conservatorship.
conservatorship
Oh,
situation.
man.
In my
I'll never
opinion.
forget a family member of mine was like, man, everybody's mad at like Britney's parents, but like, I mean, I don't know, like I'm Democrat, but like, is conservative, like, is that the one reason to cancel them? I was like, no, they're in the conservatorship. He's not a conservative. He's like,
Similar
shit.
vibes, but not quite the same thing.
But Cameron Kennedy in the chat brings up a great point. Cameron Kennedy, phenomenal job in the intro once again, haunting as all hell. Willy Wonka takes off the hat.
It's fucking
Is it a
horrifying.
wig? I don't know. Wigging out with Scarpino.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Wigging Out with Scar P. No, the podcast within a podcast. Is it a wig? Yes.
Look how terrifying this is.
Is it a
This
terrible
is like
wig?
the
Yes.
little girl from The Ring
Yeah, that's what I'm
crawling
saying.
out.
Oh! She's more flexible now.
Yeah, great.
But yes, yeah. Well, he takes the hat off, and that full dome.
Can you do
is
me a favor,
fully
Kevin?
visible.
Can you Google, what's his name? Johnny Depp in the Willy Wonka wig, and then side by side that with Anna Wintour. I
don't even know who
I
Anna
don't even
Wintour.
know who
I've
it
just been
is.
laughing
I know,
at it.
Exactly. It's such a big thing.
Oh, Anna Wintour. She like runs Vogue.
she runs
You've
Vogue.
100% seen pictures of her.
She's at every Met Gala. She's at every modeling thing. She is the woman that Meryl Streep was based off of for The Devil Wears Prada. She's very iconic in the fashion industry, but she has that bob cut, and she's always had that bob cut.
She has big
And
sunglasses.
and big ass sunglasses. And I shit you not, they just literally were like, he needs to look like
yeah.
Anna Wintour. It's
So,
very weird.
I'm sorry. I just went to the bathroom, so I might have missed this. The whole she's blue now, but she's more flexible. Why is she more flexible?
She's like a
'Cause she got,
berry skin.
I don't know.
She's a blueberry. That makes sense, right, Andy?
Well, I
Yeah.
guess because they
What are
squeezed
blueberries?
it
Flexible.
super bendy.
What?
So that's Johnny Depp, and that's Anna Wintour.
Kind of Edna Mode vibes.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
definitely. Edna Mode probably based off of Anna Wintour, well, because
That
she was a
would make
designer.
sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Anyway, one interesting aspect of this that I wanted to draw attention to was the fact that they changed the original title of the first movie to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and Roald Dahl got pissed because he was like, "Hey, that takes the precedence off of Charlie." And this movie is more closely associated with the book. But really, it's about Willy Wonka,
God,
who is
you're
the main
so
character of this
right.
movie, which is fucking weird because what resolution do we get for Charlie at all? None. What resolution do we get for Willy Wonka? Let's go talk to your dad and mend fences. Of course, we get one more comedic beat where the dad.
Well,
of the movie-
Charlie's whole thing is that he's set for life now, and he's good.
Do we care?
But he doesn't have like any character arc really in this. Like no growth, no real like adversary.
He is a very
Adversary? Why
passive
can't I say this?
Adversity.
Thank you.
Yeah, he has no challenges. He's a very passive character in this story. Whereas, yeah, it's incredible, right?
Yeah.
It is Charlie's movie in regards to he is supposedly the main character, but really Willy Wonka is the one that has a character arc. He's the one that rekindles his relationship with his dad. They mend fences here. We get the last comedic beat, which is that they go to visit his dad, and the house is just standing on itself on a hill, like way on the outskirts of the city, which is hilarious.
I was hoping Christopher Lee just would have like, here you go, son, and then crack his neck.
Wow.
Would have been cool.
That would have made. Whoa, why is this curved?
He's got a cool curved handle.
Pretty badass. He reaches out to ask Charlie, get this moment where he's shining his shoe, and he's like, what do you do when you're like? He's like, I'm depressed. All my candy is suffering because of that. What do you do? Who do you go to when you're depressed? He goes, my family. And he's like, they're the ones that keep you going. So of course we got to go talk to his dad. They finally bury the hatchet.
But he doesn't know that he's trying to be secretive and pretend that he's not Willy Wonka.
Right.
And Charlie's like, yeah, and he also had weird ass hair, and he's like, no, I didn't. And I don't have weird hair. And
Right, he
Charlie's
knows
like, what are you doing here, bro? Like, he kind of did that to call him out, and I kind of enjoyed that.
which is
little
funny.
moment.
And then of course we get the great beat of comedy where he slams into the glass one more time.
Again, yeah, again.
Go over there. His dad recognizes him from his incisors and his molars or whatever. He's like, holy crap, you don't have any cavities. You've never flossed. And he's like, never once. And his dad was like, oh my God, I'm wrong. And then, of course, we get the moment you always wish for when you've got an estranged parent. That
Candy's
has been
good.
keeping up with you the entire time and all the news clippings and all that stuff. He's been proud of his son, even though he's never been able to admit it. Very similar to every fucking relationship
ever.
between a dad and his son. But they're cool. And he's like, oh my God, I realized the error of my way. And to this point, you're supposed to have a wonderful moment. You're supposed to feel, oh my God, that's so great. Because now we're back at the house, but the house is in the chocolate garden or the candy garden. But you just can't help but think, wow, this scene fucking sucks.
It's so real.
Helen Bonham Carter's like, no talk about work at the dinner table. I was like, just end the movie.
Yeah.
Editor, if you're watching this, please help us out. End the fucking movie 5 minutes ago.
But here's the thing: they're gonna end this movie, and like, how do we leave a great taste in our mouths? Like, what's the best way that credits can hit? What happens? Because the answer is definitely not Willy Wonka. Holy fucking hell, man! I can't even imagine being in the theater in 2005 and having that shit hit. Like,
After sitting through like a bad
can.
movie and then that hitting, I'm gonna throw my popcorn at the screen.
yeah, man, like, offensive.
I think we get one more bit from the narrator too, where he's like, in the end, Charlie won a chocolate factory and Wonka won something even better, a family.
Well, here's the reveal: who was the narrator the whole time?
Deep Roy.
One of the Oompa
Oompa
Loompas.
Loompa.
Oh.
The whole time when we get introduced to Christopher Lee, I was like, oh, he's the narrator.
I mean, Christopher
Because
Lee
it
could have
just
been the
sounded
narrator.
similar.
Could have been cool,
But
but it wasn't him. It was a totally different dude.
It was
Totally different dude.
The Oompa
Danny
Loompa.
Elfman.
No, it was the narrator is a way different actor. Or at least what Amazon said.
Oh, was it a
Maybe
pitched voice down Danny
Well,
Elfman?
that's what they said. They said all the Oompa Loompas were Danny Elfman.
Oh, the Oompa Loompas were, but the narrator is a different actor. That's a completely different guy.
That wasn't an Oompa Loompa?
So at the end, the narrator's voice
There's a different voice than the other voices? Huh.
is a different actor than Deep Roy. But the narrator of the film in the film is supposed to be an Oompa Loompa. Yes, it's supposed to be Deep Roy, whatever it is. Sorry, I got confused.
This is the story of RaGuWonku.
Okay, yeah.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Rad Guys
Why
Talk
was it so
Bad
quiet?
Guys.
Jeffrey Holder, the narrator.
Yeah, he did the voice.
So this one's not Ragu Bagu, remember? You need to redo it.
It's
RaGuWonku.
Okay, my bad, my
Oh,
bad,
'cause
my
I
bad.
was gonna put Danny Elfman and Tim Burton as the number one Ragu Bagu for this.
We can
movie.
put them down. Earmark that.
Oompa Loompa Doopa Dee Doo. This is a segment, RaGuWonku. What would you do when you're done watching this movie?
Ladies and gentlemen, RaGuWonku. I don't think there needs to be a debate here. Johnny Depp is number 2. Far down as we can
Gaga.
put
Put
him.
him at number 3.
We can.
Yeah, let's put him in number 3.
The real question is Timothy Chalamet going to be more fun to watch than Johnny Depp? And I already think yes.
I mean,
No, I think it's going to be less annoying. Is what nothing that Timothy Chalamet can do characterization wise, aside from trying to do a Johnny Depp impersonation,
Oof, that would be a
will be
mistake.
worse than this.
But does he have? And this is not a knock to Timothy Chalamet, but he's a very subtle actor. He doesn't put a lot of range into his work. I wonder if, at the end of the day, it's more fun to watch this fucking trash fire of Johnny Depp than it will be to watch whatever subdued performance Paul Atreides brings to Willy Wonka.
Well,
You know what I mean?
the tease that they've gone with is him saying a line very similar to, "So little to do in so much time." Wait, actually, flip that, reverse it. When Gene Wilder does that, he has a
Right.
very similar thing where there's a kind of a similar saying, and then he goes, "Actually, flip that, reverse it," and that's when everybody's like, "This guy,
You see all your stuff
he know Gene Wilder."
Let me tell you what I want, because you know I'm not often wrong, and when I am, I admit it, and I owe our Pat an apology.
Yeah,
I've
you-
apologized multiple times, and I said he wasn't gonna be a good Batman. He was a good Batman, so I will gladly
gotta watch that
apologize
movie
to
again.
Timothée Chalamet if he knocks it out of the fucking park. I don't think he will.
He just doesn't have to be terrible. My only problem is I don't think the movie's going to deliver.
I think it's gonna be boring.
I think it's going to be totally fine.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a movie we walk out of and say, didn't need any of that.
I think it's gonna be a 3 out of 5. Never think about it again.
Yep.
Yep.
Absolutely.
which you
And
know what?
still gonna be way better than this.
Because this is a weird one. We always talk about this on In Review. There's the movies that are good, and we're excited to talk about them. The movies that are bad, they're so bad, they're fun to talk about. This
This is that.
It's
don't even
kind
think
of
it
it. It's kind of not. I mean, we had a great time. This was a fun episode.
This
But
is
like,
so bad it makes me angry.
yeah, there's a rage to this
Yeah.
one that that most bad movies don't have, and I think it's because it being so.
This wasn't
easily
us making fun of
compared.
Mark Wahlberg in Transformers.
Exactly.
This was us
There's
kind
no
of
fun to
just
the fun
being
bad.
angry about.
Remember when the line came? You're like, "Holy fuck!" He actually says, "I think we found a transformer."
I thought that was just you doing an impression. Oh my god! I think we just found a Transformer.
Oh my lord, I love it so much. So yeah, RaGuWonku, Gene Wilder's Wonka's number 1, Johnny Depp's Wonka's number 3. Ranking the Wonka movies, Willy Wonka, The Chocolate Factory, 1971's number 1. I say we put this at number 3 already.
Sure, yeah,
I
that
hate
sounds great
this
to me.
movie.
Cameron Kennedy, thank you for your opinion in chat. Says, I don't know, this was cathartic for me. Thank you, Cameron.
Yeah, fair.
It felt good to kind of come here and unleash because I had kind of teased a bit of my feelings during the stream earlier when we were playing Warzone, and Nick was about to unload. I was like, no, let's hold it. Let's hold in all of our thoughts, especially because I don't know if those microphones can take the outburst that you did earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Which
I
was
mean,
good.
look, you got to get it out. Better
Yeah.
out than in.
Better
They
out
used to
than in,
say.
I always say.
We're gonna leave with that horrifying sound.
When you see this video, make sure you click like and subscribe, and also leave a comment.
We'll see you next week.